midday show right now. It's 11 o'clock. And we said this yesterday. If we go overtime, Joe gets mad. So we do not want to do that. He actually made it go in his contract. It's almost like anything past 11:01 and he gets really upset. So we're going to have to let you guys go. Thanks, Neil. Great show. Thanks, Adara, and everybody else as well. Thank you for all the nice comments there in the chat. We got another one right now with AMD, Tesla. They're kicking. It's been a good one. We'll see you at 2 p.m. Ciao till then.
Peace. Boom, 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 boom. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's Joey Options. I'm Sharif. And it is cold as hell outside.
You have a t-shirt.
Yeah, but that really didn't make any difference. My body was fine. My face was just like inundated by all like the minus 100-degree weather. What's up, Case? What's up, Brush Digital? Shout out to Christmas. 123. Ronaldo in the house as well. Other Zinc. Blackhawk. We got Britt Brendan. But the viewers are coming in a little slow today. Wise Monk, like that one. Durant Gordon, Pac Rick, M Sense, Zion Lala. Bill Hardy. Why? Why is that your bad, Assassino? Ah, that's not. Yeah, now it's pretty good there. We got Roadrunner. Meep, meep. Prophet T. Shout out to the source, the something or another. Abide team. We got Jay Koingi, Fredo Luing, Poison Joe. Oh no, I'm trading Rick. We got It's Bert C, the philanthropist Baker, Nick J. Shout out to Pizza Pie. Who else, man? We got Indy, we got Roulette, Old Wise Trader. Always like that name, man. Artemis. Hopefully NASA can actually get the Artemis program off the ground and we can actually slingshot around the moon. I'd be pumped about that. James, we got Johnny, we got Los Polos, Hermanos, Wrinkled Hippie. Okay. Fly Guy Hache. All right. All the Cream. We got, who else, man? Jeff Richards. One more, Joey. We're going to go Tony. And we have to stop for a second because there's already news at the big desk.
I do have a story on Microsoft for you guys. MSFT on watch after Wall Street Journal reported that the company is reorganizing its Copilot AI product teams. Their goal here is to unify commercial and consumer versions. Nothing massive, but again, just a reorganization here, it looks like, for Copilot from our friends at MSFT. Again, just a report as of right now. Back to you.
There goes CREG. The breakout is on, and at $3 is now in sights. There it is into the high of the day. 2 2/3, 266er, up 113%, and looking awfully freaking strong, man. A lot of respect here for the 10 EMA on the 5. There's a lot going today, guys, but we're going to be careful as we've been this week because, well, the continuation plays have been on one day, off one day, on one day, off one day. So we're going to see what this one does. CREG, Joey, just want to let everybody know, but IBIT's looking mighty delicious as well.
Yeah, it's looking really good here. Unfortunately, we didn't get to participate in this nice trend move. I had a feeling that volume would kick in eventually. Boom, and off to the races. So you're up 1 1/3 here. We were out of the gate. I'm like, oh, okay, this is some nice strong signals being displayed. Let's get involved. Boom. It didn't take anything off, and then we took a second attempt, and that didn't work out for us, and then we just never re-engaged at this volume-weighted average price break. There's a bunch of buying pressure on the 5-minute too displaying itself, and yeah, we didn't take advantage of that one. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And then also NVIDIA, we got a nice little scalp on this one. Then it comes back, we get out, and then we take a second attempt. And good thing we got out quick enough in order for it. Otherwise, it just tanked on us, and that would have been a really, really bad time. But Bitcoin, missed opportunity here on the day as it continued to climb a little bit higher. Other than that, guys, we'll pull up what I have on my charts here. SPY, the Nasdaq, buying pressure here, but then we're starting to come back in a little bit on SPY, the Qs. You can see NVDA, multiple time frames, and then Bitcoin volume really starting to uptick here, guys, as we're breaking out. And this is what we want to see. What do you got going on, brother? Oh, is it? All right, thanks,
that
man.
displeases the production.
Yeah, they don't like that there. All right, so yeah, there it is. Volume kicking in. All right, I appreciate you. A volume kicking in here on Bitcoin. ACO and SMR giving up that strong move that we experienced here in the pre-market. So that's all I have on my list today, guys. That's all we wrote for the game plan here this morning. No Taylor Swift lyrics there, but yeah, unfortunately we missed out on this Bitcoin trade. I want to pull this up from the daily, and we broke through that $42 supply zone, which is pretty good, right? And let's see how we react around this neck of the woods. just in case, but a nice up move, right? So that uptrend is still fully intact. And we were talking about this yesterday, just the fact that now we have an additional point. You don't always have to necessarily catch the bottom. As Neil typically says, yeah, it looks like that nice trade, but there's other times that you can engage as well. So we have it from this previous pivot. We touched this pivot. Now let's see how we react when we get into that $45 mark.
All right, man. Continue. Watch CREG here. It's got a bit of a pullback. I'm looking to see if it wants to hold up above 40 pennies. Where do we get in? We got in 47s, showing 46. Not looking really to take anything out. I'd rather get stopped out and allow this to try to make its way back into 266. So let's see what we get here. It's having trouble making any higher highs. I've got the 5-second chart up on my top screen. It's in a downtrend, unbroken downtrend on the 5. Now can't get above 50. There we go. It just dropped into 40. I think that might have been a stop hunt there. So watch out if you were putting your stop just below 40. There it goes back into 50. Let's see if it can work its way back up into 55. I'm going to put a liquidity tester here. So we're going to put something at 55, something super small, just to see if there's liquidity around that level or whether or not we just popped up into 50 kind of just willy-nilly like that. Yeah, no continuation here. It doesn't look like, at least for the moment. CREG is the one I'm talking about. I've got a bunch of others on my side chart, which I'll get to in a moment. But for now, I want to allow this trade to resolve. This is up about 97%. Let's see if we can get back above 50. Not showing its intentions right now to make any aggressively higher highs, but it does have a few higher lows in a row now on the 5-second chart. We're going to get to the multi-time frame look in a sec, but I want to see how this ends up resolving. So yeah, continuing to watch that. This is the biggest one, I would say, other than LNAI, which doesn't look that great. It's at VWAP. We'll get to LNAI in a second, but this looks like the best of the bunch at the moment, but a consolidative look after a bit of a downtrend. Let's see if the buyers step back in here, Joey, above that $0.50. So that's what I'm involved in right now. CREG up 100% on the day, trying to fight its way back above that $0.50, but not really encountering any buy orders. More along the lines right now of either sells or equilibrium in a bit of a range between 40 to 50.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, for sure. So NVDA taking a little bit of a slide, so you get that turtle shell type price action. There was some buying pressure. If the momentum and the volume picked up as we broke through VWAP, I was going to look to take a long, but we get that curl over right now, so not looking too good. If it does fail to establish a new low of the day, then maybe we can find somewhat of an entry point around this neck of the woods, 182, especially if there's some indecision prints. I think that's going to be very telling, because now you would have established a higher low, and then maybe we can take a move back up into the volume weighted average price. ARCO still selling, SMR not looking good whatsoever, and Bitcoin putting in a lot of volume. This is going to be the second largest volume print on the intraday session outside of the open, and you're now seeing some selling pressure really start to kick in there. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Let's head over to our scanner and see what we got going on from top volume and everything else along those lines. American Airlines, I was looking at this morning as well, as I got a nice strong pop, but no continuation to the northeast. SoFi, how have you been performing? Really starting to take a dive here as well. So if I'm thinking SoFi selling off, then the chances of Robinhood taking a little bit of a slide are probably relatively high. Oh, okay, but nice strong drive from 75 bucks all the way up to 77 in the hooded one, as Sharif would like to say, and we're starting to form a consolidative base. Okay, so that's not bad whatsoever. Even though it's about 5 points from where we're currently trading, if it breaks, then you can probably assume that you're going to have an additional leg lower. But if we continuously hold up here, considering we're down 50% off of its highs, then maybe you get somewhat of a rebound, and $100 would be Deion Sanders right there. Prime time.
All right, SWMR, guys, IPO, it's halted up, okay? The top is showing 15. The halt price, 13.75. Volume, 138,000 shares. This one just opened up. I believe it's some sort of drone company, SWMR. I don't have all the information. $1.22 billion market cap with the latest 16% move. SWMR on the NQ. Looking good, quite frankly. It's an industry or a sector, I want to say, that's in play at the moment with the war. And I don't even think this war really was the precipice for it. I would say certainly the Ukraine war is. SWMR halted up 1375 halt time, 11:07:21. That's the last print. That means the earliest will be open 11:12:21. The tap showing 15, halt price 1375. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. And we want to see.
Is your chat is working, eh? Mine said the event was over. Okay, I'll just hop back in. No worries. Yeah, no worries.
Oh, Assassino didn't hit the forward button. That's what he was telling me in my ear.
Oh.
That's why I took some. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant, Assassino. He did hit it, but like, you know, it took a second.
All right.
So anyway, SWMR, going to keep my eye out on that. Got stopped out of CREG. It's coming back down now into the third of a dollar. This current candle has a lower low than the prior red candle. So prior bar, which is 1105, the low of which is 229.
I don't know why.
Current bar low 227. So it's, you know, it's got a lower low. I do perceive some support at the fifth of a dollar at 220. There's that topping till candle at 1035 that rejects 220, drops down to VWAP at $1.75, then reclaims the level and breaches it at 1055. So there could be support at the fifth of a dollar. We're showing the third of a dollar right now. So that's CREG, bit of a bamboozler there. I would say still in a bit of a downtrend. Looking at the 5-second chart still on the top of the screen, trying to gauge when the trend has broken. It's really as simple as this, guys. I mean, I don't want to dumb it down. Well, maybe I should. But like when you're clearly continuing to put in lower highs and rejecting that downtrend, it's not time to get in. You're going to need a clear breach of that before trying to get back in, even though, you know, you can get back in and still find yourself on the receiving end of more selling, as there could be basically bull traps to trap you into a long and then send it back down. So we're going to continue to watch CREG, and as soon as we have this one open, SWMR, we'll report on that. Remember, we're waiting for 11:12:21. Adara.
Just be aware here, guys. We have comments from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. There is a bit of an uptick here in oil. I mean, nothing massive, but just be aware. The IRGC saying that they have begun a new phase of what they're calling impactful strikes against what they're calling their enemies. That would be the U.S. and Israel across the entire Middle East region. So again, strikes across the region here for the IRGC. They're calling these impactful strikes, and this is going to be a new phase. Back to you.
Nice little move there on NVDA, man. Let's go. I'll pop on that prime time entry right there. Let's see if we can break this 60 level on NVDL. A nice bottoming signal, and this is literally what I was talking about moments ago. If we head lower and then fail to construct a new low of the day, and we find somewhat of a bounce and indecision prints on the lower time frame, it's time to rock and roll. So we're fortunate enough to get in exactly when that candle formated, and then sure, is that even a word? But anyways, aside from that, a nice move higher, and I think this is going to be a key profit range right around that 182.84. Why? Because it was prior support and can now act as resistance. So as we climb a little bit higher, I'm going to be looking to take some off on the bid, obviously. Hopefully it doesn't come back to our break even. I'm now sitting on currently 50% remaining of this position. I'll remove this so we can just do this real time, because as soon as we head into 60s, I'm prepared to take another 20% off, a couple more strong upticks, and I believe we're going to have the momentum and the strength to do so. We just don't want that aggressive selling. So a nice 3-bar play. If we can put in a new high and not come back into aggressively, I'll have to get out break even. Sitting on 50%, I'm happy with that, and a little bit of breathing room, because look where my risk profile was. In at 40s, out at 30s. This is just a little bit of a dark pool wick, and then with that pop being essentially it being a scalp, out of it extremely quick and just leaving some for a runner. So if we can get that break, let's keep our eyes on the tape. I want to get this quote highlight up so we can see where the size is laying and if we have any form of ladder. 6,000 maybe. There it is. There it is, Sharif.
Ooh, good job,
there
bro.
There it is. There it is. Come on, a couple more upticks, and that's all we need, darling. Ooh, bang, there it is. A nice little move there on NVDL. Exactly what we needed. Took a loss on it earlier today. 2 for 3 on NVDL. We're looking for those sustained bounces. Yesterday, we had that volatility spike on the GTC. We were talking about that. Be prepared for that, and you don't want to jump the gun too early. The prints will display, and you'll be able to take advantage of the trade, and that's exactly what we tried to get going on right here in NVDL, Sharif.
All right, SWMR looks like it's going to be a 10-minute halt. It's not looking like it's gonna, well, it's past its time. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. The top keeps increasing though. Into $16 it goes. It halted at $13.75. The last print that I can see there for 10 shares came in at 11:07.21. So that's the earliest I gauge it'll be open. Yeah. Interesting look. We'll keep you updated on it when and if it does open at 10 minutes. Here's what I'm looking at though. So sorry, I didn't bring in the black charts today. We're looking at LNAI. That's top left of your screen. That one is going to lose its spot momentarily here on the side chart. It is losing VWAP and is about to lose the $0.5. An aggressive sell-off here on LNAI. This one is the #1 gapper in the market anyway, above 25 or 35 cents, whatever I'm filtering these days, up 143%, but it looks like the best trade is behind it for the moment. It's been a symphony of lower highs since putting in that high at 73.93. I'm talking pennies, right at 9.30, and then it's been dropping since that time. SWMR, the bottom left of your screen there, CREG, top middle of your screen. That's the one I'm involved in right now. We're back in that one. We're looking for a hold into the volume weighted average price, BIAF. This one's also kind of holding structure, but it's not appetizing. I mean, it looks like there is support between 250 to 255, which would by definition be below the volume weighted average price. That doesn't make it as attractive to me as if it was trading above VWAP. Moreover, it really can't shake any of the lower highs that it's been putting in. The high came in at 950. We attempted to breach it 1030, failed. We did get above 3. It looks like certainly selling has been at 3 or thereabouts for a while now. So that is BIAF. Also, I want to mention ETSA, EDSA. This is a former convict, one that we know about. I don't want to say it's more expensive, but it's about $7. Volume on it's also dropping, not like it had a lot to begin with. For example, the largest volume bar in the day is 123,000 shares, which isn't that much. I haven't looked at the spread, but something my spidey sense tells me it probably a little bit wider. It's trying to do the dance right now with $7. We're going to keep an eye out on that one. All right, here we go. CREG's breaking out. So let's see how we're doing over here in terms of profits. We're waiting for 1R. 1R is pretty close. We've got that at 37, showing 32. No continuation though into that level. It's what the beak here. We'll cancel that. All right, let's move up a little bit more. Still holding the majority of the shares. 2R for me is going to be around the $0.5. So let's go ahead and post right around the $0.5. Now you know how I roll, right? If it's going to be close to an area of key technical resistance, I'm going to take the profit below that area so that, you know, I just secure the bag, so to speak, right? Because there could be sellers at these key areas of technical resistance. And what I'm talking about here, of course, is the $0.5, but it also applies to the whole dollar. Showing 38, good continuation now on, I'm just going to call this CREG, CREG. Let's see, here we go, 39 showing up. We're waiting for 2R. 2R, again, takes me to the $0.5, but I'm going to whip the beak before that. 3R for me is 2/3 of a dollar. Continuing high, this has breached prior bar high, but I have a bias that we reject, at least initially, the $0.5. So let's continue to watch over here as CREG tries to weasel itself up. Seller at 39 that we can't shake. So I'm going to look at the 5-second chart here to spot whether or not 39 or 40 was a key area of technical resistance. Initially, it wasn't, but that doesn't mean that the shorts can't set up there, or I should say, a profit taker start wetting the beak at around 40 pennies, but not an area that I had earmarked for resistance. Nonetheless, it is coming in as one. So we're going to continue to watch here. To see if this one can breach the 39, 40 penny area, and the answer to that right now is no. So the shorts are setting up quite aggressively at this 39 penny area. Something to think about here, guys.
All right, good look there, Sharif. Yeah, I mean, here it goes, guys. You're getting somewhat of a pullback into 80.50s. Considering we were only risking 10 cents, we wait till a 1-to-1 at least. And if it comes back to our break even, I'm sitting on a little bit less than 20% of the remaining position, and it looks like it's about to. So maybe we can have somewhat of a trailing stop because we ran right into that resistance zone that I was talking about before, right? So we had this level right here that was acting as prior support. You get the pullback into that range, retest, and then reject, okay? So all American reject right there, boom. And then sure enough, let's see if we can break through after this pullback and we can find enough momentum in order for us to climb a little bit higher. But not too bad of a look whatsoever. whatsoever on NVDA. I just have to be really patient and cautious just in case it does come back to my break even, because we obviously don't want to turn a winner into a loser. Not necessarily that it's going to, it's just that the fact that I don't want to give back any form of profit or realized gains in which we have extracted from the market, as Shreve just mentioned not too long ago, boom, on this earlier trade. So Los Boys, okay, Jensen introduced a robots for the close. Nice, good look. My brother, what's up? Take a bit of a long there on Apple. Yeah, let's take a look at some of these mega boys and see what they're...
the mega boys.
That didn't come out right, maybe. I don't know.
I don't mind it.
I don't know if this was past your time, Shreve. Do you remember the show Mega Babies?
What do you...
Or before you, or yeah, maybe past year?
Oh,
no?
I'm ancient.
Yeah, I know.
No, hold up. Mega Babies, I have no idea. So it's clearly past my time.
So shout out to all the 90s kids that were there watching Mega Babies and stuff like that. Amazon, not too bad, guys. Forming that bull flag. I was just looking on Amazon not too long ago to see if I could get anything within a couple of hours or so. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. I was actually just looking at some running glasses because you know your boy's going to be up in full throttle in a couple of months. And be prepared. Oh, okay, look at this print. Look at this print here. ETSA's running or something? Okay, there. What's SWMR you got going on there? What are you dancing like that for?
I feel good right now.
Oh, all right, I feel good.
All right, Adara, what's going on?
President Trump posted on Truth Social. I took a minute here to read it because it is a lengthier one, and as I often say with these Truth Social posts, probably the easiest way to read it is to just skip to like the last line, just to get a sense of it. Now, I did read the whole thing, but I'll start here with the gist of what President Trump is trying to say. He's saying that because he doesn't feel like the U.S.'s NATO allies or other non-NATO allies have been there for them. Quote, "We do not need the help of anyone," exclamation point, with regards to Iran. So basically, President Trump saying these other countries aren't here to help us. As such, we do not need or want their help. We will do this ourselves. He does end it with his trademark, "Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump." So once again, President Trump basically saying no thank you to any help because he doesn't feel like these countries, I guess, rush to help them quickly enough with regards to Iran, specifically stopping Iran from being able to build a nuclear weapon. Back to you.
China.
Come on, Xi. Where's that naval armada, Xi? We know you want that oil, Xi. It's you who's hurting, baby. Send over the naval armada. Let's go. Wouldn't that be something? A naval armada by the Chinese side by side with the Americans. I personally don't see it happening. It doesn't mean that we can't talk about it, but yeah, anyway. Interesting look. All right, so we're going to keep an eye out on that. Look, guys, CREG got out basically top wick here. That seller at 39, we couldn't shake, so I got the hell out of there. But in any event, CREG is going to continue being focused for me. But let's talk about some others. So ETSA, I saw some people yelling about that in the chat, rightfully so. Here's the deal. This one is continuing to put in a bit of a downtrend. I mean, it has had these opportunities to try to clear the fifth of a dollar. I'm talking about 720, and it's failed. Moreover, for just looking at the way that it's trading, it looks a little spready. So let's have a look. Yeah, and I was right. 13 on the ask, 2 on the bid. So a little bit lighter on volume there. Doesn't mean we can't trade it. We just have to trade it a bit of a different way. Up 37.5%, dancing around 7. More, it's holding 7. If I had to really, you know, I don't want to say guess, but if I really had to be asked or pressured to answer this question, I think that it resolves itself above 7, and it's also holding structure. Like, look at this area over here, a key area of technical resistance. I think SWMR is open. It halted again, bro. I didn't even have time to look over. All right, man, SWMR is going to be one of those ones. I think this is going to be trouble here in a good way. All right, second halt up 263%. Trade this carefully. There's a lot of money to be made here, a lot of potential to be made, but there's also on the other side of the coin the potential to lose a lot, and you could get caught in a down halt. And yeah, if you ever been caught one of those, it's not fun. But in any event, keep your eye on SWMR. Casey, I know this is kind of like your moat over here. KC 526. So if you want to enlighten us as to what your approach is with these multiple halters, I know that's your jam. Let us know, Case, how you're thinking about this one. But in any event, we're going to keep that on the side chart, of course. I want to talk, though, about ETSA. I think that it's still holding structure, as I was trying to say here before I got distracted by the halter. This 690 area, I want to give it to 680 to 7, a 20 penny buy zone. It looks like for the most part the wicks bounce off 90. But the reason I say 80 to 7 is because look at the closing prints. All south of 80, the wick did get up right around 697, whatever. And then now we're holding structure, albeit though we're putting in lower highs. So that is kind of the look there. I don't know how I feel about ETSA quite yet. I'll continue to watch it a little bit more, get a little bit more in tune with how it's trading. Grunfeld, NBIS, Nebius short. Yeah, I saw that one actually on my scanner, but some of these inverse or some of these ETFs, these leverage ETFs are blocked on our system. I'm not saying this one is, I check, but just some of them are because they don't do the requisite amount of volume. So they by default get blocked until we request them to get unblocked. So I didn't want to go through that whole process. Wow. Moreover, you know, Nebius, I'll trade these leverage ETFs that are connected to a bigger name on the days where there's really no small cap gappers to trade. Today, I don't feel that that's the case, so I'm going to try to focus on the small cap gappers. In any event, Nebius has been having a good few days here, Joey. This is an inverse. I think this is inverse because it's, 2 times short. Okay, so that means Nebius is down. In any event, so this is NBIZ, which is two times leveraged inverse ETF. So up to 960 it goes. Looks like generally, you know, there's support at 9. I wouldn't be waiting all the way to 9 though, but that $9 area is where the volume weighted average price is. Moreover, that's where the pre-market high at around 815 was, in and around that area. So that's something you can look at there. I'm not gonna be inclined to trade this one unless I really have to. What I'm watching here, guys, is CREG continuing to defend this, like, I want to say 20 to 15 penny area. Now, it's not really making any higher highs, but there are buyers stepping in at this area, which is prior area high. Moreover, it is the volume, it's kind of close to the volume weighted average price, certainly is a 10 EMA, showing about 212. So CREG, we're positive on it. We were 1 for 1, but my second trade bigger than my first, so that's why we're positive. I'm going to continue to watch this one, looking for a possible move back up and to bring this one over 100% again, Joey.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah, One Piece is in the chat. Man.
China.
What's up, One Piece?
China.
I love him.
No charts on SWMR on TradingView, and stupid hood locked me out. TOS it is.
Did you see Big Smile?
I seen
You saw it? What'd he say?
Yeah,
You want me to read it out?
Sure, he didn't really say anything, really.
He messaged me yesterday about you. I don't want to say anything. Did LJS, for everybody who doesn't know, you know, not that this is my name for him, I don't call him that at all, but Big Spile calls him Little Joey Smalls. Talk about his boxing days yet today, or did I miss it? Gosh, I hope I didn't miss it.
I don't want to
show him the video, Joey.
I don't want to always have to bring it back up, man. I remind the people once in a blue moon. And
you got to show him the video, man.
Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like it's like those guys back in high school that can't get out of the high school day. You know
Al Bundy. Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns in one game. That's before your time,
you know what I mean?
There.
So I got at some point we got to move past it. But just don't forget, man. Don't forget.
People don't forget.
People don't forget, man.
People don't forget.
Yeah, he loves to pick on me. That's for sure. One Piece though. Shout out to Big Spot.
Uncle Rico, Kenichiro.
Yeah. Who's Uncle Rico? Yeah.
From what's his name?
Who's he calling Uncle? Yeah, Uncle Rico's one of the.
He's talking about what you talking, like the guy in high school, right?
You can't get out of the high school mode. I know, Dragos. You already know what's up, man. These Twitter fingers out here, man. It's crazy. Yeah, Uncle Rico, one of the best characters. He's in a season of White Lotus, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, dang.
Let's see it. Pardon me?
Which actor are we talking about?
I don't know his name, but it's Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. He's in
I don't know Napoleon Dynamite.
He's in a season of White Lotus.
Bro, I love that movie, man.
Yeah, it's a great movie. When I was
so
off with my knee, I watched it. I'm like, this thing is too comical. Yeah, and
it's
super
so
bad.
good.
And super bad.
And it never gets old.
It doesn't get old.
Because it's stupider every time you watch it.
It's a cult classic. Yeah. Honestly, the stupidest thing out of the whole movie is that how it starts, and he just has this toy, and he throws the toy out of the bus window on a string, and it's like, what is going on here? This is absolutely about nothing. And then the llama,
so
like,
good.
Tina, come eat your food.
the llama, right?
Yeah, it's just like, man, what I wanted to talk about
CREG
here,
is losing the bid, guys. Watch out.
What I wanted to talk about here was Circle. I don't know who they think they are right now, but this is going absolutely bonkers. Another strong up day, and then essentially from that breakout in the previous earnings report, this thing has gone parabolic. It's broken through the downtrend, and then now is on the backside and continuing to climb up to $128. From that breakout day, you're up over 100%, 118%. So that's a substantial move here in the span of about less than 20 trading sessions. Let's get the accurate reading. 15, so a little bit around 3 weeks of trading, you get 127% gain in CRCL. So that's some big time moves. Ethereum, how has it been performing on today's session? Not as good as yesterday. Maybe Bitcoin slightly outperforming it currently, but aside from that, what we've seen is exactly what we want in the crypto space over the past couple of days. Now moving forward to Bitmine immersion, garbage. And we don't like this one either, nor do we like MSTR, but a nice little move coming back into VWAP. Maybe you'll find somewhat of a bounce, but don't forget, if you're playing these names, you have to look at the actual what they're tracking. So it's either Ethereum and or Bitcoin and MSTR and BMNR. All
right, I found a new one here, INLF. Coming from 40 pennies, or it looks like the low is 32.5 pennies, 58.50 high. I'm just putting in the ticker. I'm also possibly setting up a trade here on SWMR. Just before I get to INLF, let's just do a quick look here. So SWMR halt time 11:23:16. Earliest it'll be open. Earliest will be 11:33:16. We are 30 now, so we got a few minutes. So it gives me an opportunity to let you know about this. By the way, tap 1870, saw the tap moments ago at 20. So INLF, not a bad look, 68%, 69% in the Ville of Green. It's pretty wicky, man. It pops up from, 32. Wiki. You know what wick means, right, Randy? Like those, exactly. So pops up from about 32. We're going to go to crypto in a second. So 32.50 pops up to 50 pennies, drops right back down. Now it looks like it's kind of regaining trend. It's still pretty, rangy, so that Randy doesn't come at me again for saying wiki, per candle, per 5-minute candle specifically. But it's got a good look here. I mean, if it continues to hold trend, looks like 54, 53 penny area defense, support, I should say. So that's my look there. I also want to mention EDSA. EDSA is looking good here, man. It is defending, I want to say that 690 area, but there's certainly a seller at 720 area. I mean, it's been above 720, but look at that flat top. Now, I would like to report to you guys this one's putting in higher lows on a consistent basis, but that isn't happening. So it does look like a sideways consolidation. But the fact that it's holding structure, I think in and of itself is bullish. So EDSA, despite its spread, I think is a proper one for now. Do you want to mention anything before we go to crypto?
No, so someone just said, haven't listened in a while, we're back bang. So I hit the bang for them, and then we're going to send things off to Adara with crypto.
Take a look here at ORBS to start the crypto segment. Now, this is HCO Holdings. They're involved in that World coin, or that World, which is a project that's co-founded by Sam Altman. Looks like as of today, and you can see they kind of got a spike here around when this came out at 11 a.m. Didn't mention it because this talk wasn't doing too much, but I'll talk about it now. Basically what happens is World, alongside Coinbase and Cloudflare, are launching something called Agent Kit. So basically this is a tool that will allow AI agents to carry cryptographic proof that they're backed by a human. So basically trying to weed out any AIs or agents without human backers getting involved in the crypto space. Interesting project there from World, which ORBS, again, they're related to, they're involved in that. Why we got a little bit of a spike, at least briefly, that they're now back below the dollar level. Let's talk about BTC. Bitcoin actually made a high here around 76,000 pretty early in the day. We haven't been at that level quite since then, but holding on to that 74,000 level, now that's going to be significant because this was, as we go back here, prior resistance and support, and that's been the case since 2024. We retested it mid last year. So this 74,000 level continuing to be of interest without a doubt. Ethereum daily chart, we're a little bit removed from that most recent level of support resistance going back to like 2,200. Right now trading around 2320. But either way here, ETH maybe looking to post its first red session after, I believe, 8 straight sessions of winning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yes, that's correct. If we post or print a red session today on ETH, that'll be the ending of a pretty significant green streak. Back to you.
Bro, what is this guy even talking about over here?
What
I
happened,
don't
Joey?
get it, mate.
Who is it?
This is some English talk over there. We tried to essentially go again 10 cents worth of risk, same narrative on this trade. We wanted it to work instantly. Steve M. I don't know what he's on about. So he said,
what you on about?
Yeah, exactly.
What you on about?
So yeah, anyways, aside from that, guys, here it is, NVDA. We tried one more time, gave it 10 cents, get out right away because we expect that to work relatively quick. Broke my winning streak today. That's happened. The day's not over unless you got shut down or something. Then it's over if you're shut down. But if you're not shut down, then it's not over. Plenty of time left. And yesterday I was red for the majority of the day, leading up into that volatility spike in NVDA during the GTC. And then sure enough, I was just waiting. You get that strong up move up into just a little bit below 90s, come back into VWAP, boom, pounce on that one, and we put on our biggest trade of the day yesterday. So yeah, let's see if we can get back into that neck of the woods. I found lately that 3 o'clock to 4 has been pretty good for me. 2:30 on has been pretty good. So haven't been the best in the intraday, but at this point, I think the overall market's going to head towards the low of the day. So I shouldn't say that because we're currently about to print that.
Print it, Joey.
But with NVDA, right? So we're going to head towards this neckline. I was looking for some more indecision. We didn't take a long off that one. We just jumped a little bit early on this to find somewhat of a bounce in case you're going to get a rebound, because if you're going to in any name, I think it's going to be this one right here. So that's what I'm going to stick to. My guns, we have to be cautious on how we trade it.
All right, guys, I got into ETSA. We're looking for a move into the $0.50. High of days 37. I'm going to give this to below 7. I've sized in accordingly, meaning that I haven't been able to take as many shares as I wanted to. Couple reasons. One, the stop area to me was a little bit south of where we're trading. Number 2, the spread, I have to account for that as well. So we're going to see what we can do here on ETSA. Fluffy's back. Shout out to the Fluffsters. ROMA, she says. Let's have a quick look at Roma.
I don't see
Fluffy Hippo, my boy.
I don't see your
cap.
Swear.
Fluffy, I don't know why you love these ones that are not doing volume. You always find me ones that are not doing volume. Let's have a look at Roma.
It goes to NVIDIA low of the day.
Low of the day. Well, Roma looks fantastic, Fluffsters, on a daily.
It's so ripping.
It clearly, it's trying to take out that $5 decisively, and it looks like it has these last few days. I want to say basically reclaiming it on the 12th. But intraday, it's not my favorite. This is a decent chart, man. This is not a bad-looking chart right here on ROMA. Not like I know anything about this company, but when you look at it intraday, it's super light trading. Just to give you an idea, the prior candle. Let's not even look at the prior candle. The one before that on the 5, we did 2,685 shares. So it's super low. I do not love them. It's just not much to trade. Yeah, I'm always nice to you. Did I come off as mean? I didn't mean that. No, but I complimented the fact that the daily looks fantastic. It's just, the volume on this one is a little light for me, to be quite honest with you. It had good volume this day. Like, this is what I'm kind of talking about over here. Like, this is the kind of volume that I want to see. This was a good day for it. What day was that? That was the 12th. So that takes us back to last week. But in any event, 850 high back on the 12th. If you're looking today, what's the situation today? Yeah, we're still below 6. Looks like there's some selling coming in at around 4/5 of a dollar. We'll keep an eye out on this one. I don't mind the daily chart on this at all, Fluffster, so shout out to you. BIAF, TT Mass saying, got that on my sat chart, and here it comes again into or above, I should say, the volume weighted average price. But this is the problem. We had a lot of selling at around 290 with the wicks going through 3, nothing closing above 295. In fact, nothing closed above 292. Kind of a random area. So I'm going to say 290 is where the closing prints end up, with the wicks breaching 3. BIAF is good, but technically still a lower high. I'd love to see what kind of buying and selling as well we're going to get at around that $2.90 to $3 area. If history is any guide, there's going to be an aggressive fight between longs and shorts at that level, but I'm all eyes. BIAF is up 48 and change on the day, and certainly deserves my attention here. IONLF does not. It's losing VWAP. It's looking like absolute hot garbage. Look at that, 58.50 now all the way down to 44.50. So this is losing the bid in a hurry. It's below VWAP, it's below the 10, and it's going to lose its spot on the side chart. CREG was good, and then it wasn't, right? That's what is kind of characteristic of these small cap gappers. There you go, unbroken downtrend, trading below VWAP, drop below 2. It's going to have to break the trend, get above VWAP, and get above 2 for me to get interested again. It's still up 60% on the day, and that means it's probably going to be on a lot of people's radars. I'm going to continue to nurse the trade that I have here in ETSA. Unless I get stop hunted, I feel that this one could breach 737 high and then maybe weasel on up into that $0.50 area. That's my 1R. So 1R for me is going to be the $0.50, 2R for me, $0.75, 3R at around 8. So some lofty expectations here, but we're going to pack the patience separately. We're also watching that IPO, SWMR, swimmer, I'm going to call this one. I think it's a drone play. Tap showing 18, halt price 1760, halt time 11:33:42, meaning the earliest it'll be open 11:43:42. We're showing 40, so we have a few more minutes here, Joey, before this one opens up. I didn't get in last time because it opened up down. So I still have a plan. I've calculated my risk on this one. I want to see what it has to offer. I'm taking smaller share size on this, of course, because of the volatility and the risk that this one has. So we're going to keep an eye out on that, Joe.
All right. So yeah, this is what Gaurav and I are looking at right now. So an increase in volume right there, nice engulfing print, but nothing to follow. So the way that I'm looking at this right now is that it's a pretty strong bearish candle, right? Like there's no buying pressure stepping in that volume. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get somewhat of a curl over and head a little bit lower here, but it could bounce. The 5-minute displaying something a little bit different, a nice indecision print. You have sellers push price all the way lower, and then now you get buyers step in and it closes a couple of pennies higher. So I got my eyes on it. Hopefully that works out for you, Gaurav. Also, this breadth looks relatively weak as the volume is starting to stair step down, but anything can happen. 182.44 could definitely be a target there, but SMR's displaying some nice prints, guys. We have some nice prints on IBIT. But one thing that I've been noticing for quite some time is that we have kind of the double defense here. So we have this volume. And let's actually make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. So we have this volume kind of anomaly, right? So you have that indecision print, buyers push it, sellers push price lower to where it closes at, and then sure enough you tank. But then now, as you're going lower, you start to form some of these an additional hammer candles around the lows, but the volume isn't exceeding what this print was, okay? So I'm gonna be looking at that this candle is going to overtake this candle unless we start to form somewhat of a base in the pre-market and then slowly start to curl around. I might take an attempt here on SMR. I really like what we got going on. It's literally 10 cents worth of risk, and why not, right? So we'll see if we can catch a long and maybe somewhat of a bounce here on SMR. But guys,
just one sec before we go to the interview. Here comes ETSA. Here comes the $0.50, 745 high, showing 48s. It's got a cross though. ETSA is on the move here, guys. There's 48s. Print, please. Let's go. Seller at 48. That's crazy. Boom. All right, ETSA's good. We can go to the interview now.
Excited to welcome back to the show today, Raghav, Mehta, CFA VP and ETF strategist here at Global X ETFs. Thank you for being back here with us today.
Thanks, Adara, for having me. I hope you can all hear me loud and clear and the tech is working, just making sure.
Yeah, you sound all good on our end. Let's get right into the questions here. So let's start this session by learning a little bit more about these BetaPro leveraged, inverse leveraged, and inverse ETFs. What's the structure of these products in terms of their product construction?
Sure. So if I want to, again, I'll try to explain it as clearly, as concisely as possible. If we get into the design of these products, what we do is normally we use derivatives to create the fund. It could either be a futures position more often than not, or it could be a swaps position Now, what we do is when you buy the fund, we have two types, the daily 2x or 3x bull and the daily bear ETF. So you have the long side of the market, bull ETF, and the short side of the market, which is bear. For the long ones, we would buy typically futures contracts to give you that long exposure on a particular underlying. Similarly, on the short side, we would short sell our futures contracts or by the way of swaps to give you that short exposure in the derivative markets. And when we do that, you not only get the long or short exposure inbuilt, embedded for you for the end investor or the person that actually ends up investing in this ETF, but at the same time, because with derivatives, either futures or swaps, you get that natural leverage. We also give you that 2x, the 200% leverage that's baked into this ETF through the use of derivatives or swaps inside the contract. So when you buy it, you not only get an inbuilt short or long exposure, but you also get the 2x leverage, 200% leverage on the underlying asset. And why do we do that? To answer that question, it really is designed to simplify trading experiences for the retail traders. The reason why we do that is if you were to do this by yourself, let's say you want long or short exposure, but you want that leverage, you could do that yourself, but you'll have to borrow money, borrow cash from your broker, and the broker typically charges the prime financing rate, which could be anywhere between 4.5 to 6%. So it's basically the prime rate plus a few basis points that you would pay to your broker, depending on who your broker is, whether it's Interactive Brokers or any other discount broker that you're using. But what happens is that cost of financing and that cost of borrowing funds to create that leverage, along with that leverage long or short exposure, the cost of funding or the financing on the prime rate that you pay turns out to be costlier or higher in terms of the funding costs than you would normally pay for this ETF. Whereas with our ETF on BetaPro.ca, if you can pick any fund that you want to play in the markets with, our fee overall is much lower than that overall funding cost or that financing cost because you're only paying for the total fund expense ratio, which includes your management fee, your expense ratios, as well as your trading expense ratios or your total fund expense ratio, which ends up being a lot lower than that 4.5 to 6%. And at the same time, you don't have to learn or really know how to get into a futures position yourself, right? You can simply buy that ETF, which gives you that leveraged long or short exposure on any asset class, any broad market, or any commodity or index that you're looking to trade intraday. And that really simplifies your experience. So you don't have to do it all by yourself or really learn how to trade futures. Or, sometimes you're not even sophisticated enough to be able to have a swap execution facility to be able to trade swaps yourself. So we do that for you inbuilt. It's baked into the ETF itself. And it's really designed to simplify the trading experience for the end investor. So you don't have to open up a margin account or borrow on margin. And at the same time, with derivatives, you know that you get that natural leverage because futures markets tend to be a lot more liquid. And it's the multiplier effect. So we make sure that we also rebalance these ETFs every single trading day at the end of the trading day to maintain that precision. So let's say if it's the natural gas 2X bull or bear ETF, the ticker is HNU for the daily 2X bull and HND for the daily inverse 2X bear on the natural gas asset. If you were to, let's say, look at what happened with natural gas, let's say the natural gas rallied 4%, that 2X bull ETF should be precisely 8%, 2X up 8% before fees and expenses to give you that precise 2X exposure at the end of the trading day. So we'll make sure that we rebalance our futures position to give you that precise exposure and the upside exactly as a multiple 2X of the reference asset. Similarly, the next day, if let's say natural gas drops 1%, you'll get that negative 2X exposure. So your return at the end of the next trading day will be down 2%. So we'll rebalance once again to make sure that we give you that precise performance which is a multiple negative 2x or 2x if it's a bull ETF. So we make sure that the fund sticks with the objectives and we rebalance it at the end of each trading day. So again, that's how these ETFs are designed. That's how they work, if I was able to simplify it for the audience over here.
Thank you so much for going over that for us. Now, I want to get into gold now, because I know last time you were here, almost a month ago now, you were talking about gold. So let's just take back and recap how the gold trade has been since then, and where do you see it right now?
Perfect. So if you do a recap, and let's pick up where we left last time. So the last time I was here, I did an appearance on your show at Trader TV on the Feb the 24th. If you look at what happened with gold in the 6 trading days following the 24th and my live appearance on that day, what actually ended up happening was gold sold off. So I was talking about how the gold market was getting overstretched, getting too hot and overheated, and there was this risk to the downside of a pullback or correction. Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened. So if you look at the gold performance over the 6 trading days following my appearance on the 24th, that's exactly what happened. So if you look at, in fact, the trading dates March 2nd to the March 3rd, in that 1 or 2 day time window itself, gold dropped about 6%. And if you actually look at the cumulative performance of gold over the entire 6 days, gold was actually down 2%. So again, if you really followed my call, if you followed my lead, you could have actually made some money there just following the intraday bearish opportunity with the gold price action that we saw over those 6 days. So again, long story short, if you are still bearish, I just want to reiterate the ETF is GLDD, that stands for gold and down, which is your inverse 2x daily bear gold bullion ETF. You can learn more about it on betapro.ca. That's our website, which gives you that inverse exposure to gold along with that 2x leverage, as I explained earlier, through the futures and the derivatives market as we run the fund on a day-to-day basis and maintain that negative inverse 2x leverage exposure inside it. And again, if you kind of zoom out from this whole picture and you look at the long-term, I think fundamentals and what we're seeing in the market for the long term are still supportive and constructive for the price of gold. Central banks are still buying the bullion for the long term, and you are still seeing that de-dollarization that I mentioned the last time I came here on the show, and the dollar alternative, the so-called dollar alternative, which tends to be gold nowadays. So long term, you are still constructive on the idea of holding gold. So again, if you have a slightly longer term as a trader, we have the GLDU ETF. That's the gold daily 2x bullion ETF, the daily bull ETF. Again, learn more about it on our website, betapro.ca. That's what these ETFs are for. These are meant for intraday trading. And the best use case that I want to talk about over here is, let's say you already have long exposure in the gold market right now. You can actually use or pair your long position with GLDD to give you that hedge in the market, right? Sophisticated traders who might be trading gold inside their RRSP or TFSA registered accounts, they cannot actually short inside the TFSA. But if you really want to hedge it, you can use or hold our GLDD, that's the inverse 2x daily bear ETF, to hedge your existing long exposure in bullion in your trading account. So again, that's the story with gold. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the other content that we have for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just talk about oil here. Do you have any thoughts on oil prices? Of course, given recent and ongoing geopolitical events, is certainly something that's kind of hard to give a longer-term call on just due to how volatile everything is. But what are your near-term thoughts here on crude oil?
Sure. So, the word higher for longer was always used earlier for interest rates and inflation, but that same term, higher for longer, is now very relevant for what we're seeing with oil. Now, there's more hedgers than speculators in the crude oil market because of the nature of the asset class. It's a commodity that's widely used for industrial purposes. So more often than not, you actually have more hedgers than speculators. And when you combine the hedgers and the speculators, there's one thing as a leading indicator that I like to watch on the trading side is the chart that you see on the screen to the left. So we like to look at the call to put option skew. What that tells you is, and I want to kind of simplify what the skew means, it's basically the difference, the spread on the crude call option premium minus the crude put option premium. That spread, or what the market's willing to pay for the call option premium for crude oil as a percentage of the put option premium, that ratio is the highest we've seen in years. And the last time this actually happened was 4 years ago, exactly back in March 2022. So the derivative markets and the hedgers are still pricing for the upside if you look at the price of oil, the crude oil, right? And when that happens, there is still expected to be more bullish momentum on the upside in the near term. But obviously, there's a reason why this is happening. If you look at the fundamentals, if you look at the chart on the right on the screen, we are monitoring the oil vessel traffic at the Strait of Hormuz, or the oil tankers that are flowing through the strait. That traffic, both inbound and the outbound vessels, have actually come to a near total halt. And when that happens, you have that scarcity of oil because 30% of the oil supply goes through the Strait of Hormuz. And when that's shut down completely, there's literally 35% reduction in supply. And obviously, let's say Trump or the U.S. backs away from this event, and tomorrow we wake up and there's peace restored in the Middle East. Even if that happens, when you shut down oil refineries or you've cut down production, you're not going to be going back live the very next day instantaneously, right? So this will lead to lingering supply risks, and we might see oil getting higher for longer. The question is how far high up will the oil prices go in the near term? The answer is we don't know. It really depends on the duration and the intensity of these events and how long or short-lived these events happen to be. But one thing that I know is for sure is that the market's pricing a lot of heavy implied volatility. But in the near term, there's demand for the upside. So again, if you want to take advantage and trade crude oil intraday, we've got two ETFs. One is HOU, that's the daily 2x bull ETF for crude oil. Again, BetaPro.ca, our website, explains everything about this fund. And with oil, you also have ripple effects in the natural gas market. So the next ETF that I want to mention is HNU. That's the daily 2x bull natural gas ETF. Once again, BetaPro.ca will have all the fund details. With these, you can get that potentially amplified exposure on the upside for both crude oil and in the natural gas markets. We use derivatives to trade the contracts for you. So you get a nice inbuilt leverage inside the fund, and that tracks the 2x daily returns of crude oil and natural gas respectively. But the bottom line over here is there will be a lot of volatility, a lot of implied volatility, which creates a lot of opportunities for traders to, capitalize and get in and out quickly, relatively quickly. With that being said, we are still seeing risks of oil being higher for longer in the short term.
Thank you so much here for being with us today. Raghav Mehta, CFA, VP and ETF strategist here over at Global X ETFs. Thanks again for being here with all of us.
Thanks, Adara.
Great information and great interview there. Thanks, Raghav, for that information, giving us an inside look into how, these ETFs work, especially from the leverage look. Joey.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm going to hit?
BetaPro. Pretty sure I've seen... All right, and we hit that for you. I know, Indy, I know, we didn't take it. We didn't take it, but we have it.
Boom.
Boom. But we took this IBIT trade here. We're flat on the day. I just need this dirty dog. There's this one video where buddy's blowing on a screen for the stock to go up, and that's what I'm tempted to do. I'm still sitting on about 70% of this position right now on IBIT. Just don't want this pullback to be too deep, but that SMR trade was absolutely cash money. Shout out to my boy Bart. If you got in at 12s, that's what I wanted to get involved with. It kind of went without me. There was plenty of time to get involved. There was hesitation nation, full disclosure. So now we got to see if we can hold on to this IBIT trade, but if not, we'll take the scalp for what it is, a breakthrough VWAP and a continuation of the trend, then I'm going to be more than happy. It's going to be a green day when you're when you got the finance vest on.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, it's a solid indicator there. So we're going to be patient and wait. We had NVDA and we have this IBIT currently sitting on right now, but with 70% remaining. So we're holding the bulk and have a lot of unrealized currently. But if it comes back to the break even, we have to be prepared to get out of that. But SMR was most definitely the trade that I wanted to take. MF dangerous. Thanks, Sharif. Tip for the tap. Thanks, Sharif.
He's printing up a storm.
What's SWMR?
That's the IPO. Swimmer, that drone IPO.
Swimmer.
MF Dangerous printing up storms on his side. While Adara was doing the interview, he was asking me about the theoretical auction price on this.
Bro, I can't even show you. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, I was going to say this. Well, I was going to shout somebody out, but then I can't even say that. I can't even repeat their name.
Which one is it?
It says, Joe knows how to hold a ball.
Is it soon or before?
It's like 2 below the MF Dangerous Super Chat.
Oh.
All right, bro, you did it to yourself now. We can't refer to you. SWMR is going to halt, guys, 26.52. Halt level is triggering. We need about a few more seconds. False halt. False halt, new high a day, 26.52. Right back into 26. Halt level still 26.52. You'll always be able to see that on my level 2. On the right side is limit up. On the left side is limit down. So you can see that red rectangle there in the bottom of your screen. If you can read the price within that red rectangle, that is limit up. It's adjusted now, 26.79. It's moved up from 52. That is the new limit up. So keep your eye here on SWMR. Very strong, very volatile. This one can end your day super quick. So please trade it carefully. It's up 96%, was up over 100 at 26.52. I think the opening print was something like 13 and change or something like that. I think 13.75, give or take. In any event, it is 12 o'clock. That means it's time for Happening Now with Adara. And when she's done, Neil's lesson of the day.
This is going to be a bit of a truncated Happening Now because I really mostly want to talk here about USO and the fact that President Trump is speaking. He started speaking at the end of our interview with Raghav. So I'll mention some of the things that are being said. He's with the Taoiseach of Ireland. That's the leader of Ireland. They are both wearing green ties to suit the occasion. And President Trump, of course, talking about the Strait of Hormuz. He's saying that he's had great support from the Middle East on the Strait of Hormuz. He said that Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain have been really supportive here with regards to their efforts against Iran. And he said with regards to Emmanuel Macron, he'll be out of office soon. So he's not too worried about France not supporting these measures. We know he's already said on Truth Social that who needs them if they're not going to help us, more or less. In fact, he actually was just asked a question, what's going to happen here if you get these nations to help secure the Strait of Hormuz? He basically sidestepped it. So President Trump kind of ignoring that question as of right now, literally and figuratively, but USO is going to be on watch because he is, of course, heavily being asked here about the Strait of Hormuz. He just started answering questions. Let's talk about earnings. LU reporting after the bell. Lululemon, they don't have a CEO right now, or at least not a permanent one, so that's something to be aware of. OKLO also reporting after the bell. They did an announcement this morning as well, so news play not working too well for OKLO. Let's see if the earnings play they'll get for tomorrow is a little bit more effective. Again, I do apologize, brief for Happening Now segment, but really wanted to focus on these USO comments. President Trump, as we get more comments, I'll put them on the screen, I'll put them on the chat, and I'll bring them to you right here on Trader TV Live, which you can catch not just on YouTube. You can get it on Rumble. You can get it on TikTok. You can get it on X. And I think you can also get it on our website. But you know what you can also get no matter where you watch Trader TV Live, right around 12 p.m. almost every day that he's here? It's Neil. Lesson of the day. So I had a little bit of fun with this. Excuse me, took a little while there. But we've got Neil. He's got a lesson. Neil, we're all ears.
Thank you, Adara. We'll give you the lesson here. And, you know, sometimes patience, like I always talk about patience as one of the virtues that you can have. But you have to remember one thing. No matter how patiently you wait for something, no matter how good it starts to look, no matter how awesome, it's like, oh yeah, it's finally setting up the way I like. You got to respect your plan. You've got to respect your rules. You've got to sometimes be able to read the room and know when it's time to get out. Because if you watch this morning, like early on in the day, like there were a bunch of good opportunities out there. Like Uber trended well early, and there was like a bit of a trade for Intel. But like the first thing I traded that I lost on ended up being BMNR. And then I didn't even get back into this thing until 10:30. At 10:30, it finally rounded the bottom, headed above VWAP. It was trending into a long, added on a breakout of the high of the day. And you're going to notice we ended up getting in the top tail. And here's the thing. There's two lessons that I learned from this. One of them was, and you see me do this more than anyone else, I'll be that first guy to be like, oh, that's it. Let's just get out and take the scalp that's available to us. I'm all about that. I have no issues with it. Like I'll be much more ready to be like, okay, that's the move. Maybe we can catch it again if it's clean. We'll take what we can get. I did it on Uber twice, just a couple of scalp trades. And when Uber couldn't break this, like I'm like, okay, well, I like the long off of 78. We catch it, miss it here, catch it there. Couldn't break the trend line. So I just get out. It's all in, all out at one spot. And sometimes that's how it is. And if that's your style of trade, then you stick to it on that style of trade. Now, obviously, in hindsight, there is something that got lost here on BMNR. I'm going to point out a few things first. Before I get to this BMNR, I'm going to pull up USO. When I left you, USO had done this. See that downtrend into a double bottom? If you like trends, downtrend into double bottom, that could have been a single entry with a single exit into the volume weighted average price. That's a fail not to have it. I don't have my fail. Okay, there we go. It's a fail not to have it. And if I'm being real about that BMNR, when you get that sense, hey, the move is over, that up here, it's not breaking out, we're failing, I don't like that tape, let's jump out of the trade. And now part of the reason I could pick that top is because I had ETH going in the other way, right? Like if I see it's a leading indicator and ETH is already starting to pull back, I can jump out. But what did both of these do? There's ETH breaking the trend. There's BMNR breaking the trend. You know, as that happened, there was another trade out there. Our bias can get the best of us. And some people call it spidey sense. Not really. It was failing the top when ETH, the leading indicator, was already failing the top. It's what got me out here, so it's what got me out there. But sometimes you got to be able to flip the script. Because as much as I like this above the volume weighted average price, I like trend breaks better. And USO had a good trend break, missed it. You can only do what you can. BMNR had a trend break, probably should have had it. That was even better. And to the south side. But the only thing you can do is that next setup, you've got to be able to play it. You know, I hear traders all the time say, well, if what you're doing isn't working, then do something else. If what you're doing is working, then make sure that is what you do. Because as much as I miss that trade, I wait for that next opportunity to try to sniper something, and whoops, my trend line did not get saved, so there we go. There's Oklo from the open. 1, 2, held the high there, again on a bit of a dip, made this bottom, not a double bottom, but right back into the prior day close, breaks the trend, I jump into the long. Actually didn't get my second fill, doesn't really matter. We get that long, we'll play it into the prior low. If it can't break that, then I'll play, or if it does break that, we'll hold the rest into the volume weighted average price. You've got to know what it is that you're looking for. And ultimately, as a trader, you can have a bias or whatever it might be. You can come in thinking one thing. But if your prime setup shows up, you got to be willing to jump in there and take it, because if you've been green for a while, right? Like if you're a profitable trader and consistently profitable, and there's a particular style or strategy that gets you there, you got to hit that one. So yeah, I like that BMNR trend, and fine, it was holding over VWAP, but there was a better trade and a bigger trading opportunity out there that was a better setup for me, and it was that trend reversal. So fine, you were able to capture some of that long into the high, but that's that other trade that I got to be involved in because it's the better setup for me. And sometimes you can lose sight of that. And where you lose sight of that is when it contradicts what your original thought was on the stock or on the instrument, whatever it might be, and that was a long. So I wasn't thinking short reversal, but that trade was right there. It was right there. It was a fail of the high of the day. It was a trend break. It even had continuation on review. All of those things that I would normally be looking for. So we hear traders like to say that all the time, like, man, if what you're doing ain't working, try something new. If what you're doing works, and you're consistently profitable month after month, then you've got to make sure you hit those. And I know I'll be the first person to be critical of myself, look at a trade that looks like it was good and then say I bungled that because I should have 100% reversed it and been short. But that's what you have to do. You have to have that level of honesty with yourself. And regardless how Oklo works out, it doesn't matter how OKLO works out. As far as I'm concerned, hey, it didn't save again. There we go. Oh, hit save twice this time. As far as I'm concerned, when you take one of those trades that is the setup that you love and the setup that has been paying you, then you're fine with it. I know where my out's going to be. Prior bar on that trend break, right? So that's at that 59.7. I'm sitting here, got the 60 long, and I know where my targets are going to be. Right, so that's kind of a binary situation. We'll let it glide in. If I see it starting to fail around 61 and it can't break out over the price, fine. I'll take like the 50, 60 cents at the 1-to-1 and maybe not the buck. But I can make that decision when it gets a little bit closer. Right, so know the strategies that pay you and are better for you. Right, I don't mind that VWAP long in a trend trade, but it's not as good as the trend break. So I know that I got to prioritize one over the other. Didn't do that today. So as much as the BMNR was a win, I consider it a miss because I didn't get that trend-breaking trade, which I like so much. And that's the real lesson. If you know, and if you don't know which strategies pay you, first of all, that's a problem right there. Like you should know what pays you or what doesn't pay you. What strategies work for you, which don't. Which ones work the best. Because there's nothing, like if you're a trader, you come up to the market every single day. It's like going to work. And if you sit there and you lose every single month, then you're working for free. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's like paying your trading tuition. But while you're doing that, you should at least have an understanding of which strategies and setups work the best for you. So that I can have a stock that worked and be like, nah, Neil, that wasn't good because you had a better trade setup and you didn't get it on that stock. And that setup's been paying you better over the last 6 months than the one that you did take. So green, red, people are always like, oh, you green and red on the stock. Well, what difference does it make if I'm green on a stock if I didn't get an A+ setup on it and then missed a bigger trade? Am I proud of myself for that? Why should I be? Because I missed that A+ setup on that stock because I had a B+ that won. So that comes down to always being aware of what does pay you better than others, defining your strategies, defining your setups, knowing what works for you. It requires some work. You have to record. You have to go over your trades, not just was I red or green on this stock. If I took 5 trades on it or 3 trades on it, were they all the same setup? Were they different setups? And compare apples to apples. You hear me say that all the time. Compare apples to apples. A breakout trade isn't a mean reversion trade. It's not a VWAP bounce trade. You know, it's not a consolidation double bottom off a historical support level. Like there's all of these things are different trades, and you've got to know that difference for yourself. Usually at the end, I try to give you guys a what was the lunch and how was it. I haven't even touched it yet. I pointed this out. Sharif actually was pointing it out to me as I was trying to say it to him. They doubled up on these carbs here, and this is all of the protein I get. That's it. It's this little thing of chicken. So I'm going to be protein deficient today for some reason. So I'll just have to pick it up at. I'll go home. I'll probably just have like I'll have to have some kind of a protein-rich snack. I don't know what I'm going to do. I got a big dinner planned tonight, which is no, I don't whatsoever. I'm literally having chicken for dinner and I'm having chicken for lunch, so I'll have twice as much chicken at dinner. I just don't understand why there's a little protein. It's just so weird, man. And then it's almost like it was an accident that they doubled up the carbs here. It's like you should have done 1 scoop and then I could have had a bigger thing of protein, but it's what it is. Good luck in the rest of your trading. The market is trying to bounce off VWAP here, so that should be interesting. Keep an eye on oil prices for sure. That's what it's all about. And make sure you stick to your A+ setups. You know, like it's all good, well and good to have a B trade win for you, but it causes you to miss out on a bigger and better setup, then it's not so great after all. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, President Trump is still talking. He said a lot of things. He just said that Keir Starmer, who is the current leader of Britain, is not Winston Churchill. So there's a lot of comments being made, I think it's worth saying. But I'm going to start here with the geopolitical stuff, because I think that is actually going to be key, because he did say some things about Iran. He said that the conflict with Iran was largely over in 2 or 3 days. He said they could take out the electric capacity in Iran in 1 hour, and that, quote, we could knock out oil on Karg Island. So President Trump basically saying they could take out oil in Clark Island. However, he also said they're not ready to leave yet, though they will be in probably the very near future, quote unquote. So saying it's over, then saying that they could leave, they're not going to leave yet. He also said that there could be some kind of action with Cuba soon, and saying their relationship with Venezuela is very good. So lots of comments on geopolitics from President Trump today. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. I want to let you know we are now live on Twitch. This is the live feed right there on Twitch. We have one viewer, but I think like this is Fabian. This is the first time in a while, right? For a few years, yeah. So we got to get this up and going. But yeah, we're live on Twitch now. So if for some reason you have an aversion to YouTube, there you go. You have another kind of what's it called? Portrait or landscape format. You don't have to watch us on the portrait mode there. So live on Twitch. Guys, SWMR, first halt down of the day. This is the new IPO. Opened up kind of early, man. 11:06, the first print coming on this one. Typically they open up afternoon, after like lunchtime. In any event, KC 520 frickin' 6. It's printed up several storms on this name. This is her wheelhouse right here, and more jealous I could not be, because these are big outsized winners. Anyway, up 409%, halted down. Got to take profits sometime. In any event, tap showing 24. Well, halt price 25.45. Halt time 12:10, 52 earliest. We will be open 12:15, 52, but if history is any guide, it likely will be a 10-minute halt. I think the last halt was 5 minutes. All the ones prior were 10, so you're gonna have to keep an eye out on that. Separately, someone was telling me that, what's it called? ETSA is a short. Look, I get it. You know, we had the outsized move here on ETSA. This one felt like a short squeeze through 7 into 8, but I don't think it's a short quite yet. I think it's holding 7. Moreover, it's holding the volume weighted average price. We'll get to that. Also, there was news on Palantir that you guys brought there during the afternoon rundown. It didn't really move on the news, but I'll bring it to you guys anyway. Keel and Palantir partner on U.S. Navy Ship OS initiative backed by up to $448 million in funding. So it looks like they've entered a collaboration to support U.S. Navy Ship OS's initiative for the maritime industrial base. Keel will integrate Palantir's Foundry and Palantir's AIP into its operations and connect its IFS operations into Palantir's platform. Ship OS has up to $448 million in authorized funding and is intended to deploy across Navy shipbuilders, shipyards, and more than 100 suppliers. So interesting look there, but as I mentioned, Palantir didn't really move on the news. Anyway, so just before we send it to Joey, I gotta tell you, I'm not liking any small cap gappers right now. Nothing. In fact, CREG, I think this is the one that looks short. And kind of this is why I didn't get into it. Let me make my point. So clear downtrend break here, right? And if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I have a bias for these ones, especially when they hold up above VWAP. This one didn't do that. It straddled VWAP from the sell side, and then it tried to reclaim volume weighted average price. What it didn't do, though, was take out that shelf, that 2 1/3 shelf that we have been holding out at. In fact, it couldn't even shake the fifth of a dollar, 220. And then to give, or to kind of confirm that this one was going to fail, we get basically a bottoming tail candle that is breached by the subsequent red candle. So this, if I had gotten into this trade, for example, if I had gotten in, let's just say 215, 210, okay? Because it reclaims VWAP, it breaks the downtrend, it looks like it might be making another move into 2 2/3, and then I waited out over here, so I don't take any actions on the 1155 candle. Where I would have taken action is the 1155 candle gets breached by the 12 p.m. candle through the low. That's where I would have got the hell out. So say I got in 215 to whatever, 210, I would have been getting out like 205, 204. And then as you can see, 4 candles in a row now, downtrend on CREG. And I got to tell you, this thing looks like a glowing short, I want to say between 180 to 175. The reason I give you that range, look at this area low over here that we defend into 180, but I'm very much alive to the fact that 175 was an area of support. Now, it could have been support because VWAP was there at the time. In any event, I'm going to look over to Neil once he settles down. and he gets his everything ready, I'm going to probably look to see if I can get shorts here on CREG. I may or may not need them, right? It may set up in a way that I like. It may not. In any event, I'd like to have them. So CREG in focus over here. We got to pause for a second. We're going back to Adara.
This headline is not super detailed, but I'm going to bring it because the stock is moving, so I think we should address it here. NVDA pushing higher into that 183 area. We're getting comments from NVIDIA CEO Jensen saying that he has, quote, strong visibility of that $1 trillion plus. Now, we know yesterday he guided $1 trillion plus with regards to this forecast here for Blackwell and Rubin. He's further clarifying that that forecast only captures Blackwell and Rubin, and it does not include any new products to come. So these comments coming through right now from NVIDIA CEO. Back to you.
How much? Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. It's costing me an 11. Who you dunking on, Joey? You're dunking on somebody. See that, Ram Ram? Ram Ram's back, by the way. What happened?
Bitcoin. Let's go, man.
This guy, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. Just
Get him, Joey.
Sometimes, you know what?
Get him, Joey.
I'm not even going to go there. Bitcoin.
Okay.
I hope that individual doubled down. I hope you doubled down on going inverse what I was essentially doing. That would have worked out really well for you. Let's go IBIT. A nice climb right there. And that's exactly what we're talking about. A massive spike in NVDA as well, too. So, bang. SPY, big move higher. NVDA, big move higher. Let's rock and roll. That's what we're talking about here. And man, I put on some shares on this trade, and I was just waiting to hit the specific targets. I'm still sitting on approximately 25% of my remaining position.
Sitting on it.
Why? Because we're going to let this rock and roll. If the market wants to continue to climb higher, then by all means. Whoa, my boy Bart. What's up, Bart?
Simpson?
Are you still not Simpson?
Oh, my bad.
Fortunately, because I mean, there it is. Nice move, brother. If you're still sitting in this trade, I hope you can break through some of this resistance zone right here. And the same narrative, trend line, simplistic stuff, hammer candle, holding that trend line, and then boom, we get that nice uptick with the overall market. Massive volume spike in NVDA. There might be somewhat of a continuation in trend, and I really like these bottoming signals here on the SPY. From a low of around 670 would be a good entry, and you get $1.40 just like that. But don't forget, it's extremely more expensive than what the TQQs is. What's that double leverage that you guys were telling me about again on the SPY? It wasn't very liquid, but let me know what that is. I'm going to post up at 14s here on IBIT, 42 14s. But Adara, what do you got?
But I have here more comments from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. Right now, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, as you can see, we did get this pop into 183s on NVIDIA. More comments on that $1 trillion goal that Huang mentioned yesterday during that NVIDIA GTC keynote, further saying that he expects the company to close, book, and ship more than $1 trillion in business, focusing here solely on Blackwell and Rubin. But he also said, quote, the $1 trillion target will keep growing. So not only will they have an expansion here of this $1 trillion target, but yeah, it looks like a pretty good look here for NVDA. Back to you.
SWM.
Go ahead.
SWMR open, heading down. This is the 10 EMA on the 5 on SWMR. Limit down, 21.36, currently showing 23.5, 23 1/3. There it goes into 24. This is turning into a hammer candle here, bottoming tail candle. Previous halt level was 25 and a third. 25 and a third. There it goes into 25 2/3 or a half, sorry. On the bid, on the ask, it's a half. On the bid, it's 10. So 26.10 halt level here. We need another 5 or 6 seconds at this level. 26.10 halt. Up halt again. One measly down halt on SWMR, and there it goes back into the upside. The strength on this one is certainly not lost on anybody. The high of the day, mind you, is 29.41. Didn't quite make it up into that $30 area, but my spidey sense tells me this one's probably going to see 30 in a second. Boom, boom, brought to you by SWMR. Get it, Casey. She's all about that life. Great trade, Case. Good for you. This is right down your alley, so keep killing it on these ones. I know that when they come around, you're gung-ho on them, so good for you, Case. All right, guys, what I'm keeping an eye on here is ETSA. I'm looking for this one to hold 7. I could be convinced to go back long, and now I'm looking short on CREG. Yeah, nobody got it. All right, shut up, Ram.
Why we got a time? What was the countdown for, Assassino?
CREG? We got to go to Adara.
Keep an eye here on USO. More comments on the situation here in Iran. Trump said that, quote, the war will be over soon. Now, we know earlier he said it should be over pretty soon, more or less. And he also said that once this conflict is over, oil prices will drop like a rock, quote unquote. He's saying furthermore that it will, quote, not be too long before ships can pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
Thank you very much, Casey, for doing it frickin' live. All right, guys. Who got a morning note here? Ron Miller, Jawa, Sab Gink. We got Jake Fair, Steve Mint, Richard Stein, Darren, 2497. All right, so I can't say that name. SDG Fella, Terra Pin Riders, Space Cat. 420, okay. We got Nido Brand. All you guys got, check the chat. All you guys got free YouTube memberships vis-a-vis KC526.
How did that guy get up in the chat and then he already got a membership?
Because he just gets into the chat.
No, but I mean he's
got to be live in the chat.
But our boy Gorev has been in here, never caught a membership, I don't think, or Los Polios. We'll just call him TBK. TBK.
You think it's rigged?
It has to be.
You making accusations? That's crazy, bro.
I mean,
you're opening up yourself for a defamation lawsuit there.
Oh, is that?
No, I have no idea, bro. All right, we're just jokey, of course.
Oh, you got something?
I just wanted to show this, guys. So all you guys who got free memberships now, you can mosey on over to the YouTube homepage for Trader TV. Super simple. You click on our icon there, and then on the top you'll see tabs. Click posts. Then mosey on down. There's a handsome gentleman by the name of Jensen Huang. There's the morning note, morning market brief. It'll say members only. For those who are subscribed, click read more. Click that bad boy there, and it'll take you to the morning note. Super, super simple, always ready and available before we go live every morning at 8 a.m. Get it?
Yeah, all right. Let's go, man. A nice little move there on Bitcoin as it's continuing to climb a little bit higher. This is what we were looking for. Good. So, yeah, it's been a nice trade. We waited for that precise entry. I figured that we were going to be a little bit strong today, and that has been the case. So not too bad of a look. We'll take some more off at 18s, and we'll post up there for a little bit left. I only have approximately, let's see, 15% to be exact. We'll remove a little bit more at 18, so we'll post up. We'll wait for that to come into play and see if we can catch that fill. Not like the UFC fights. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Chuck Gibbs, you know what's going on. I don't think UFC's rigged whatsoever. Those guys are going in to win. AA and PC says Joey Rigatoni. I mean, there it is, man. Let's go over a couple more names and see what the big boys are up to here today, and then we'll go over the top performing sectors. We'll take a gander through the options chain to see if there's anything cool that we're looking for. We're past that 42 supply zone by approximately 13 cents currently speaking on IBIT. I'm referring to, but let's see what NVIDIA is up to. Volatility spike. We like that there. I thought you were ready to go. Something. Okay, Apple. High of the day there, Sharif, 255. What does it look like from a daily? Not too bad. A solid recovery. We're still down about 10%, a little bit more than that, I think, at this point, 11%. Amazon, how have you been performing on today? Pretty good, I think. The past couple of sessions, it's been strong. It's a positive catalyst coming up with this name, so not too bad of a look. And Tesla, how have you been hovering right around the volume-weighted average price? Moving forward, let's take a look at the options chain and on IBIT. Those 42s are now under the water, and you're going to see 32,600. But what is really attracting my eye is that we have a level at 42. We have a level at 43, 44, but this is the big dog.
The big dog.
To keep an eye out for, and that's going to be that $45 mark. We're worth absolutely nothing at this point. A couple of pennies. You can't even go to McDonald's with how much these things are worth or anything along those lines. Maybe a couple of junior chickens or something. Oh man, sorry to sidetrack, but I don't think I've had a junior chicken in probably about 10, 15 years.
Good.
Aside from that, yeah, I know, I'm all for it. I think McDonald's should be banned, to be honest with you. You think
Straight
so too?
to jail, eh?
You think so?
Well, they got the McFlurry. The Oreo McFlurry is acceptable,
But I mean, we can get ice cream somewhere else, Sharif. $45 mark, 75,300 contracts. Before we send it back to our boy Sharif, let's see what the stock tracker has been up, the portfolio. Your boy sitting in a cool fifth place right there. My boy Sharif sliding a couple of spots, baby in, but Ramin sitting in that 4 slot there. And then Obi down 54% in Circle. That's going to be absolutely disastrous, especially if it continues on the current trajectory it's sitting on right now, already down 50%. Now, let's see what the top performing sectors are up here today and where we're going to find the most strength, and that's going to be in the energy sector, okay? We're up 1.5%. Real estate, we're up 1.06. Consumer discretionary, about 0.8%. Communication service, 0.6%. Now, as for the week, how have we been looking? All negatory. For the month, the only positive major average here is the Nasdaq, up roughly 0.4%. And we know for quite some time, it's either the best performing or it's the worst performing. And right now, it is the best one, even though it's only up a measly 0.4.
All right, President Trump said this. Trump says Cuba is speaking with Marco Rubio and said the U.S. will do something soon. So President Trump on Tuesday said Cuba was in bad shape and that the country was speaking with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Washington will be, quote, doing, quote, something with Cuba very soon, he said in comments to reporters in the Oval Office. So interesting look there. Guys, I got back into ETSA here, and I'm looking for this one to hold up above 7. So that's my move here. I've given it a little bit of a buffer, given its spread. Well, at times it's spready. Right now it's about 5 pennies. I want to see if this one can make its way back into that, I want to say 7 1/4, 7 1/3. So EDSA back in focus for me. And just as quickly as I got shorts for CREG, which didn't cost me that much, 70 pennies here per lot. This one is trying to make a move back into that area high. Here comes the fifth of a dollar. This is the area that we rejected on our attempt to reclaim the level. We kept putting in lower highs after we got out of this one. And here's that 218 showing 219. Here's 220. The bid is picking up a little bit, and this one's looking good. I think if we can get above that $1/4 and even more relaxing would be above the third of a dollar, because we had basically the candles from 11.10 to 11.20 that were rejecting that third of a dollar on a closing basis. I think that I would rest a little bit easier. But CREG and EDSA look like they're back in focus here. Not to mention, of course, SWMR still trading at about 27 bucks, about $2 off the high. Going back to Adara.
Yeah, just letting you guys know, President Trump just ended this press conference. As mentioned here, a lot of these comments were about the situation here in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. He did mention, as I said a couple of minutes ago now, he believes this conflict will be over soon, and that as soon as it is over, these oil prices will drop like a rock. He also said that he thinks that hopefully he'll be able to meet with Xi of China, leader of China there, in 4 to 6 weeks. Back to you.
All right, this is what we got going on, guys. We're posted up at 18, so you do experience somewhat of a pullback. But I think we can recover, especially if the overall market decides that it wants to trade back to VWAP as well, too. So we have the SPY and the Nasdaq performing a little bit better, considering you can see the Qs is right there. And then we're still about 1.5 points away from that on the SPY. NVDA volatility spike, no follow through just yet. Some selling pressure starting to step in on the lower time frames. And then we have IBIT starting to come in a little bit as well too. I'm glad that we only have 15% left if we get stopped out. But if this trend line holds up, we see some indecision prints, then maybe it's going to be a good time to reload and add some shares if the overall market wants to participate. SMR did climb to a high of approximately 1237 off of this double bottom roughly, and then Oklo found somewhat of a recovery back into VWAP, but slowly coming in here as well. Moving forward, let's take a look at a couple other names. How's Netflix been doing? And then we'll do this week, considering we're getting a couple volatility spikes in NVDA. We'll take a look at the chain to see if there's an increase, 45.3%. I don't think that's anything substantial. Let's head over to this week's expiration cycle, once again in that 185 mark. Absolutely acting like a big-time wall of defense. And then 190, even more, okay? That 200, we were sitting around 266,000 last week. This week, it's shrunk in size, so 241. But there's just massive amounts of supply zones through this name. And we're not going to see anything, like, you got to think about it from a volume standpoint and a mega cap, from a capitalization standpoint, the two largest being Apple and NVDA. Right, and Google as well, but there's not nearly as much options activity in Apple as there is in NVDA or in Google, okay? So Like Google doesn't even have that much. It's not even comparable whatsoever. If we head over to the 20th cycle once again, it literally dwarfs in size. I understand that Google is significantly, it's like almost 33% more, right? It's hovering around that $300 mark, and we're just a bit below 200 on NVDA, but it's not even close, and 180. Apple and NVIDIA are relatively close in price. Or actually, no, they're not. They're 250 Apple. Wow, what am I talking about? But aside from that, it's still not even close regardless. If NVDA trades up to 200 and something dollars, it's still going to have that amount of options activity just due to the size of the float as well.
All right, LYYLH4W. Sharif, can you give your thoughts on proposed changes to the Nasdaq index inclusion for IPOs? Seems fugazi. So I did actually read a little bit about this yesterday. I didn't make any notes, but what I do like is this fast entry rule for mega IPOs. So basically, that's the most significant change I would make. There are others, but if you're a newly listed company, you could be added to the Nasdaq 100 within as little as 15 trading days after the IPO. It's a massive shift, of course, from the current requirements where companies, I should say, typically have to wait for the annual December reconstitution. But there's also that market cap over seasoning. So to qualify for the fast entry, you have to have a market cap that fits within the top 40. Currently, that's about $100 billion, give or take. So if a company meets this Titan status requirement, the Nasdaq will waive the standard seasoning period that currently requires the stock to trade for at least 3 months before being considered. And then there's a waiver of the liquidity requirement. So standard inclusion rules require a company to demonstrate 3 months of specific trading volume liquidity. The new proposal waives that. And then there's the temporary expansion of the index, right? Usually it's a one in, one out kind of system. Swap immediately for fast addition. You would temporarily, I should say, increase the number of constituents on the Nasdaq 100. So it could be over 100, but that's on a temporary basis. So I don't feel there's probably that much wrong with it. I'm assuming what they're doing here is they're trying to lure in these bigger companies who have been staying private for longer for whatever reason, right? And they're trying to lure them into the public markets by making listing a little bit easier. And we've seen that with SpaceX specifically, that Elon Musk wanted to be able to get into the Nasdaq 100, I think immediately upon listing. In this case, I think the rules would allow him within 15 business days if he was to meet, trading days, pardon me, if he was to meet the other requirements. I don't have a big problem with it. And the reason I don't is because a lot of these tech companies that may be the most valuable are staying private longer. That means for most people, not all, most people, they're not going to be able to, catch the accretion to the high side. And so that could be some missed opportunities there. And I think the exchange is basically trying to augment that in order to kind of weasel everybody in. There are other vehicles, I get it. You can invest in one of these companies like DXYZ, for example, that holds SpaceX. But I think most people would want a direct ownership rather than holding them through a proxy vehicle or a third party. At least, I'm just speaking for myself, at least I would. So that's my little rant about that. I hope that helps, brother. Cool Brioche, KLTR attention. Let's have a look at KLTR. I've been holding, by the way, ETSA for a while now. I've been holding for this one, looking for that one to move back into the $0.25 as well as the third of a dollar. But let's look at KLTR. What do we got on this? Okay, I don't like it right away. Big move yesterday. 405 could be an earnings play. I don't care. Sold off a Christmas tree retracement all the way down. It continues to sell off into 8 o'clock. 4 a.m. opens up, and it's much of the same. It's an unbroken downtrend. You can kind of see that pretty clearly by drawing the trend line there. To me, it's still negative on the day as well, Cool Brioche. It's got to get, I think, above 139, 140. That was the official close, but we know that it's a lot higher. Got up $2 on volume, mind you. Like these volume bars in the aftermarket, 1.5 million shares, 1.4, 1.4. So it was ample amount of volume at that level. So yeah, I wouldn't say, it was a light bunch. Degenerate, Degenerate, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Got in SWMR at $16 a share. Printing. Ooh. Sold most. My man, that's a big move there, but it does look like SWMR may be at least on the way down for a while. It looks like there is a buyer for whatever reason at about $22.50. That's not the first time we bounced off it. I'd say the first area defend at 22.5 came at 11.55, the low of which was 22.52. Here comes again, 22.30. Can it lose this level? It looks like it might. Let's watch here. And then the other attempt at 22.50 was the candle at 12.20, the low of which it was exactly 22.50. So this is the first time I think we've been below the 22.50 level. Not for a while here. Let's see. And the ask hasn't dropped either. The bid is below that level. I'm not going to punch in here, obviously, but we'll continue to watch to see if it does lose the $0.5 level here on the ask, currently showing 2/3 of a dollar, so it hasn't quite made it down yet. No, there's buyers here. So be on the lookout here. 22.5 seems to be where a big buyer has been coming in. I really want to make my point here before it loses it and I look stupid. This is what I mean. 11.55 candle, 22.5 defend. 12.20 candle, 22.5 defend. This one does breach it, so the low of this candle is 22.30. But as you can see, showing 72 now, so could find its way back above that $22.5 area. Keep your eye on this one. I've got really nothing to do. I'm continuing to watch here EDSA. It just touched, I think, the 20 penny area, 17.19. I'm waiting at the $0.25 and the 1/3 of a dollar. Look, if it continues to hold trend by putting in these higher lows, I'll hold it. But if it loses 7, I'm out. I'm not giving it to VWAP. VWAP's around 6.95. So that may be a mistake on my part. We'll find out shortly. Last but not least, CREG. This one broke trend, man. It got above that 22 1/5, but as I suspected, it's having trouble with that 22.30 area. It weaseled on up into about 22.28, couldn't clear 30, dropping back down now into 13. Looks like it found support at 10. The reason I say 22.30 was a level, look at these candles here, 11.10 to 11.20, no closing prints above that 230, but it did wick, I think, into about 39 or 40. In any event, it does feel like this one is breaking trend a little bit here. And it does look like a bit of an upward channel. If we can kind of draw it that way, let's adjust this a little bit. And then it also has a very clear buyer at 185. So a nice looking double bottom breaking through the neckline here, but at least for the moment, no continuation on CREG, Joey.
All right, man. So yeah, silver, we had a missed opportunity. Did you take that one, Gorv? Because it was a really good print. Excuse me, choking on my apple there. USO at VWAP, pardon me.
Punch in the apple.
Punching an apple punch?
Punch into apple.
Punch into apple if you're choking on. At VWAP, I mean, I don't know where yours is. It should be all relatively the same, especially if data starts collecting at 4 a.m. Not right now, right? We have that strong up move, and the market is still holding a base. I'm going to be looking to potentially take a long on the Nasdaq as NVDA is funding somewhat of a bounce. We're bouncing off of VWAP on IBIT. So, I mean, that could go a little bit lower. You're right. Just wait for your entry. You could be totally right on that thesis. Where was our high? 119.98. And we were looking at options chain activity. 120 does seem to be a supply zone. And over the past couple of days, I don't believe we've had the ability to breach that. Okay, so we come in off of that. What did I just do? So we've came in off of that level on multiple occasions. 123, you sell off. You climb up to 120, and then you sell off a little bit more, so not too bad of a look. But as for SLV, this is exactly what we want to see on the 5-minute. I can tell you this for free. I guarantee you the algo. I shouldn't actually probably say that, but let's pull it up right here. Without even me having to look, it should have triggered, and this is what we're looking for. I know I've been on and off about them, but I'm just waiting patiently for it to really get rocking and rolling. I created some more over last week, and I was telling you guys, and yeah, it's working really, really well for the kid. We'll head over to the 5. Let's get this out of here. And did we hit our intraday? Yes, exactly. So see, I didn't even have to really look. And I'm like, just because we know how it's designed and it's really accurate on the triggers, so we're now in this position right here on SLV, and it works fantastically on some of the ETFs. So let's go over to our metrics. Substantial, right? Like this is really, really prime time. We're gonna go over and see what we have. We're currently in a position on it. Max X, we're getting total 8 trades, profitable. So shooting a 50% clip rate with a 3.2% profit factor, or 3 to 3.2 profit factor, absolutely phenomenal with an open P&L currently right now. So the list of trades, we're in this one. A couple wrong ones, but the February 26th to 27th, absolutely phenomenal. And same with this one here right now. So a really good look on that position. I'm glad that it's picking up the exact signals that we want. That's the whole point of it. You just eliminate your the discretionary aspect of trading and just get involved. and just let this stuff do the work, right? Because sometimes I get personally frustrated. I'm human, but at the end of the day, this is what we want, and this is exactly what we're gonna get. So a nice look there on the algo on SLV. You got something?
No, I was pumped about like your assertiveness there.
Yeah, I created a couple more, man. It's not even funny how easy it is now. And I'm still using GPT. I haven't even used Claude or anything along those lines.
For the simple stuff, I feel like I
think
maybe I'm speaking out of turn here because I haven't used too many, but I got exactly what I wanted from Gemini for my
your
risk calculator.
Your calculator?
Yeah. We're coming in on Saturday, bro. We're gonna do
You
it
and
live.
Jose?
Jose is on. He's in Saturday and Sunday typically.
Yeah.
And he was nice enough to be like, hey, I'll be in. So if you do need help.
That's
he'll be
that
able
guy.
to
Jose is that guy.
He is that guy. I'm kind of pumped, man.
What am I using ChatGPT for? I'm not even, I have no idea how to code. Yeah, vibe coding. I have no idea how to code whatsoever. So, dude, you know what you should do? You should do, because it's so easy, you could just type into Gemini or whatever you want for your EMA strat on small caps and just plug it in.
I don't want okay. I see what you're looking longer term. I don't want anything trading for me at the moment. I get that that's the future. I get all that, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I just want to be able to execute my trades in a timely manner. I find the risk calculator is excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, I can practice doing the math in my head. I just don't care, right? If I can, especially if I can vibe code it and get this done in an integrated way, I think that's the move for me. Right?
Okay, that's your stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can just do that within in your code, right? Like you could have a certain amount, like have X risk per trade.
Yeah. I get all that. I know that's the future, especially if we want to be able to do something else and reclaim our time.
Discretionary trading. There's always going to be discretionary trading.
Yeah, swing trading and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That really, I mean, I think that again is the future, but. For now, I'm just going to kind of stick to executing myself, but I just want it to be more timely. Guys, I just want to digress for a second. Rivian is making a move here. Not the name that I'm going to trade, but this is a great-looking bull flag. Pop off right at 9:30, holding VWAP generally. I mean, it did wick below it here with this crazy-ass candle at 11:20 with equidistant upper and lower wicks, but once it was done that weird candle, it's been putting in higher lows and higher highs here, up to 1590. I mean, we could see 16 on the day. We'll have to wait and see. 16 is not really a level for me. Technically, of course, it is psychological resistance, but that 1613, I want to say 1620, the double bottom from back on the 11th, that's probably the area of resistance I'm looking for. But Rivian, multiple topping tails into around 1590, 15 high 80s. There could be a seller in and around there that could get shaken. So keep your eye out on that one. I'm not going to trade this one, but of course, I wanted to mention that to you guys. All right. Swing trading from, no, you're not 1320. I'm not going to read that out, but you're fine, brother. You're fine. You're fine. T-King. I'm going to call him T-King.
I call him TBK.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. He's actually an old viewer, bro. He knew I called Apple the dead one. He knew that I was trying to sell the floor mats for my F-Pace, which hasn't been in my garage since August.
Is it the same name? I like TBK, man.
I have no idea if it's the same name. I don't remember the name, but yeah. He's obviously a longtime viewer, so shout out to him.
I like all of you.
Yeah, of course. Wow.
Yeah, we'll go with
about
99.9999%. It's always the bad apples.
Bad apples.
That ruin it from everyone else. Sorry, guys.
With an apple in hand, he says. Exactly. I like that.
Listen, dads don't worry, I'm here. All right, Sports and Stonks, much appreciated. Who's it? You, Ram.
Yeah, of course it is, bro. Of course it is. Name them.
We don't do that. But see, that's the thing.
She just wants to start problems, as she typically do.
Back. What is life without a little bit of problem, Sharif?
What happened?
Oh, Joey is the bad apple.
Oh.
That's great. No, that's my boy. What am I doing? Going to Adara?
Yeah.
Keep an eye on DraftKings here, guys. Not 100% sure this is why this is moving, but I think it's a pretty good bet. I just saw this headline coming through, seeing reports that Kalshi is being charged in Arizona with operating an illegal gambling business, so I immediately pulled up DKNG. DKNG is trading higher. Let's take a look at PENN. This one, a little bit of a spike, certainly nothing compared to that DraftKings pop. Again, could be related to the fact that I'm seeing reports that Kalshi has been charged with operating an illegal gambling business in the state of Arizona. Back to you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Continue us. Yes, Ram is back. She's back, and
Oh, don't start
she's
that.
brought her attitude with her. but
Yeah,
it's
dude,
good.
How else would
good.
you want it?
Oh, it's dark back there. It's dark. That's the production team. If you guys can't tell, we have the wall of TVs. We got top left. We got CNN. Then we have CRPS News. Oh, I thought she was going to give a different gesture there. There she is.
Oh, what a save.
There she is. Yeah, camera's a little bit dark, but that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, good to have Ramin
You're
back.
getting love in the chat, Ram. People are happy you're back. So shout out to Ram. Guys, I'm still watching CREG here. I mean, it broke above that 2 1/5, and you felt like it was on its way to 2 1/2, and now it's losing 2. So I've got shorts on this one. Neil was nice enough to get me shorts, but I'm not going to be short unless we lose, I want to say, mid to low 180s, maybe even a little bit lower, because I see support at 75 as well. It's still up 61.25%, but it does feel like it's trying to put a bit of an upward channel. If that's the case, my short isn't going to work out. So I'm keeping my eye on that separately. I've been trying to pack my patience here on EDSA, but this one feels like it might be losing trend a little bit. It was putting in some higher lows. I feel that that has changed ever since the candle at about 12:30. And here comes 7. My stop is just below 7, but this one is spready. So there could be a zone of illiquidity below that $7 area, especially if a lot of people are getting out at that level. And there it pops up right back into 11. So I'm not sure how to square this circle here on ETSA. We're positive on it. I don't want to give too much back. We have a much smaller position here than we got in initially, just based upon the fact that the chart pattern was not setting up in a very meaningful way. So why size in when it's not? So that's my look here on ETSA. I do apologize for the lack of trades in the afternoon, but there's not a whole lot going. I've been scanning my scanner. I've been keeping an eye on some of these names that we've had here, and they're really all breaking trend or they're doing nothing. Of course, SWMR continues to zig and zag. It's got a bit of a lower high trend here, but if you're picking it up off key levels, you're probably in the money. It's given up that 22.5 that I was pontificating about. It got into about 21, now showing about 25 here as it tries to work its way back up. I'm probably not going to trade this one unless there's like an A+ setup, which I don't currently see at the moment. So not a whole lot for me to trade. Sadly, in the world of small cap gappers, but we're going to keep an eye on things. And if there's any other ones that I haven't mentioned, feel free to tag myself or Joe. Let us know what's going on. But typically what I do ask is that they're above the volume weighted average price, and if there was a pre-market high, definable pre-market high, that it be above that. If it's trending, I'll have a look at it anyway. But yeah, tag myself or Joe for that. I'm going to keep my eye here on ETSA because it keeps weaseling into that $7 area, and that is a little bit concerning to me. Cool Brioche says UAMY. I think you called this one out to me yesterday, and I did really like it. So shout out to Cool Brioche. How's this one looking today? This one's looking like a short. So hasn't quite given up the entire move. It looks like maybe about 50% of yesterday's move. Let's do a little Fibonacci's. I know they're not called that. Yeah, right at 50%. So this area here, this double bottom that we put in at 1120, and about 1145, that is 50% retracement from the breakout level from yesterday. That is from the pre-market breakout. Coming back into that 10 1/4. So 10 1/4 is about 50% of yesterday's move, but that does take us into the afternoon there where we made a high of, I believe, 1110, 1108. Okay, so right at 1110, 1108, same difference. Yeah, this one looks like it could be a short. If it does lose 10 1/4, that could be a good look there. Hangry Wife. JVA says Outlaw Trader. Let's have a look at JVA. Oops, typed that in wrong. JVA. Coffee Holding Company. Little light on vol, especially lately. Look at that volume drop off, bottom right of your screen. At the height of the volume, we were doing about 87,000 shares per 5-minute candle. Now we're down into single digits, guys, like 2,000, 1,300, 2,600, 7,000. So light volume here does hold for a bit of a downtrend, though. Lower highs from that 4 1/4 now showing 411, give or take. Yeah, good breakout there in the aftermarket yesterday, right, I want to say about 415. Good continuation, but light volume. I'd be buying at 4. So I like that level, especially if it holds up. Keep your eye on that. So that is JVA. Thank you, Outlaw Trader, for that. Argo, says Grunfeld. Let's take a look at ARGO. Light volume, brother. Did I type that right? This is on the pinks. So Yeah, I won't have updated data for the pinks, so this will be delayed for me, so I can't really look at it. I can look at it on my platform, but I can just tell you that it's really light on volume, brother. Only up, am I typing the right thing? AGRO, my mistake, AGRO. I typed it in wrong. There we go. Oh, this is really good, Joey. Okay, sorry, this is really good. 1280, holding trend, deep retracements on the 5, coming to the 20. Most of the retracements hold up at the 10 EMA. Good shout out, Grunfeld there. I do like that one. That's gonna replace INLF. AGRO is the ticker. Sorry, I didn't get to throw that in. We're gonna look at this one for a minute, but while we're looking at that, we're gonna send you to Adara.
Beware here, guys. I actually might have another small cap mover for you, Sharif. It's about 10 million shares of volume. Obviously, it's been kind of consolidative all day, but there's a new story now for NFE, New Fortress Energy. Bloomberg reporting that NFE has signed a restructuring support agreement. Push to the upside here for NFE. Back to you.
Very much for that, Adara. Not a bad look here. This is a good breakout. 127, there it goes, guys. Through that flat top, I want to say around 117. We couldn't shake the sellers there. Watch out for the big drop, though. Some of these, you know, they'll have the algo spike. Sometimes you'll get mass participation, and then sometimes you won't. And then it'll drop back down. So if it does, I could say 117, maybe 120 buy area, but right now it's trading at the highs, and there it goes into 128. NFE is the ticker here, Joey.
All right. Yeah, I'm just running through the scanner here. We're heading back towards the high of the day on IBIT. Hangry, did you take that short on USO? It did squeeze back through the volume-weighted average price. Now starting to head back in a little bit here. And then we also had someone talking about FJ. He's talking about SoFi. I was pulling that up. Could be, I understand what you're getting at here. You're like, it could break either way. But I think what we want to do is just go with the flow. And it's stuck within this channel. So if you have the ability or you want to try out a new strat, once you have this established over X amount of time trading, it's essentially channel trading. So you want to just sell the top end, buy the lower end. Sounds a lot more simple than it actually is. But it's like range trading, right? But just in a specific direction. So keep an eye out on that one there. Could be a good potential trade. Hangry, I'm still waiting for the entry, watching the cues. Yeah, same thing. NVDA about to display a good print here. Gaurav, are you still sitting in this trade? Because we had that volatility spike. We pump right into the volume-weighted average price, and then we come right back in. Now, if this volume continues to uptick, there might be a good entry, and then maybe we can officially break and hold the volume-weighted average price on the cues if we get this move in NVDA back through. With that being said, you obviously want to keep an eye on that most heavily weighted underlyings, and that is going to be the Mag 7. All right, what a print we got there, Gaurav. Are you on the win minute? We got the volume. We have the indecision. Let's wait for somewhat of a pullback, and then we're going to look to get involved here on NVIDIA. Oh, it's going just off to the races.
Get it, Joey.
Just like that, Sharif. We're doing it, man. We're doing it live. We're still sitting in this position. Hopefully we can get a sustained bounce, volatility spike, and just like that, there you go. We'll take that. Hopefully we can. So what I'm looking at here, and I think it's happened on multiple occasions, not that I think it has happened on multiple occasions, is that you have the support levels acting as resistance. So you have that pop up into that prior one, and you sell off. So if we can break through that, then I think we're going to be doing okay. I'm not going to be giving this one too much risk or leeway on that entry. But other than that, we're involved off of that hammer candle on NVDA. Let's go break through that 80.35 mark. And then I think we can really get off to the races and climb into that next zone, which would put us around 80.50. And if the other larger participants are starting to join the trend, then I think we could be sitting in a pretty good position. Apple is starting to come back in. It was going off of the overall market, put in a high of the day, 255, comes back in, and then now you're starting to get somewhat of a rebound. So
why is Intel getting clipped? Does anybody know? Like, why is this thing down 3%? Like, it's a bit of an outsized move here, especially like that. It's the worst performing semiconductor name on my watch list today. Is there a reason? Because I didn't review this at all. Intel, Adara, is there anything on Intel for the drop there? Rubin boosted NVIDIA's dominance. I don't see anything here on Intel. It's down over 3%. So I'll keep looking. Intel debuts Core Ultra 9 plus an Ultra. What is this? This is nothing market moving.
There is a lot of social media attention, which obviously doesn't mean anything news-wise, but like a ton of people are looking at this. Like we're talking multiple posts a minute, which you don't often get for the likes of Intel without a salient catalyst, which I'm still not seeing.
Okay, thank you very much on that. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either. All right. We'll keep tabs on that. Pathik says Uber is breaking higher consolidation. Let's have a look at Uber. Great headline, of course, with NVIDIA yesterday at GTC, continuing today. Let's have a look at the ride-hailing king. Here we go, right into 79. Okay, so there is aggressive selling from the morning at 79. Take a look at take a gander, I should say, on these topping tail candles here, unbroken. We started the topping tail dance at 9:45, and we didn't end it until about 10:30. Reason we ended it there is because it dropped big into 78 bucks. But here it is again, into the high 78s, trying to work into 79. This could be a nice breakout here through 79. And then, you gotta assume we get into 79, we're probably gonna mosey on up to 80. Who knows, right? But this is a good flat top here that's manifesting here on Uber. Whether or not we're able to shake the short sellers at that level, you know what? Joey Opsh does this all the time, but I'm gonna do it today. Let's take a look at the options chain. See if there is a put wall or a call wall.
It depends which direction you're
We're
going
going north, so it's a put wall, right?
Call
Then
wall.
we're looking, right?
Call.
How, why though, call
You're
wall?
going north, right? So
Yeah.
you want to go up?
Yeah.
So you want to go up in the options chain.
I don't understand, but so if there are calls at $80,
Yeah.
how does that create resistance?
Well, it's a ceiling, right? So if you're at 75 bucks and you have calls at
Oh, I'm thinking of it the wrong way.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
exactly.
Okay, my mistake. Let's have a look at Uber. See what this one has here. Let's go. So, yeah, a lot. 14,000. So, am I looking at the open interest?
Yeah.
Or the volume? The
Yeah,
open
yeah,
interest,
yeah,
right?
yep.
So that's the largest open interest right there, right at 80, 14,400. Just compare that to 79 where there's less than 4,000. Sorry, yeah, less than 4,000. Let's go up. Is there anything else? 85 has as well, 13,700. So yeah, so that 14,400, that could be interesting there at the $80 level for the call wall. I learned something new today. All right, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Guys, I also want to mention that one that Adara brought to us, NFE's kind of topping tail, but it's not giving it up in the way that I typically see. Usually we see just a big drop down. So current bar low here on NFE is 128.5. Okay, 128.5, but it's trading at 133. If you wanted to get in here, I would give it to current bar low so you can kind of tighten up the risk. It's got a 140 high, current bar on the 5, 140 high, low 128.5. NFE, the ticker, not a bad look. Separately, keep your eye on AGRO. Thanks to the trader who mentioned this one, showing 1270 here, holding up at the 10. I would be interested in picking this up here as well as 260. We've seen the money fills on this name seem to be at the 20 EMA, which is the yellow line on the chart. And then if you're at 1270, there's a good chance you mosey on up into 13 if you catch the right move. So keep your eye on that. All right, NFE opened up another bar and it's holding prior bar low. It's 3 pennies away from the high of the day. It's about 140. Joey, take over. I want to set up on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're still sitting in this. It's not looking too good right now. You can look at these downtrend. So if we can catch the top end of that channel, it'll put us roughly around the break even. A little delayed on the entry, but this is going to be my out. So I have to hold this position until proven it wrong, right? We don't want to get out too early. So that's my narrative here on the NVDL trade. We had a nice scalp on it earlier, and we're just looking to continue that momentum and play the ebb and flow within the overall market. You can see that we have a support level right there, but the strength and every time we do pull back isn't as strong as the volume pressure pushing us right back down. So that's what I have going on right there. And then also we've been long IBIT for a good portion of the day. We'll head back over to IBIT and see what we got and see if we can establish a new HOD. Or that's not going to be an HOD, but break through this previous pivot high. And I like the volume and the momentum that it's starting to display. The only thing that's really hindering this potential trade is this. Right, so we're kind of going counter trend and we're keep knocking on the door of this channel. If we are fortunate enough to sit through this trade and open up on the backside of this north of 80.22 on NVDL, then we might be able to find somewhat of a sustained bounce. All right, so that's what I'm looking at there. Come on, keep going. 42.20s could be a next potential out on IBIT. This has definitely been our better performer here today as we come back in a little bit. SoFi, what is SoFi up to? Yeah, we were looking at FJ. We were just looking at SoFi, looking like it's getting defended. Okay, so there it is, channel, right? So now you're starting to break through. It's not the cleanest, but you are at the top end of it. So if you think you've established a bottom around 1750 and are going to have the ability to break through, hold it with that small curl over, we're not going to call it a turtle shell exactly, but that does look like a turnaround type price action with a slight increase in volume. So that's what we got going on. 42.13s there on IBIT, almost the new high of the day. We're going to wait for 18s there.
All right, man. Just give me a second because I'm still in this position.
I didn't know if you were ready or there. Yeah. So, okay, yes, let's go, NVDA. Big time pop on that one, NVIDIA. We'll pull that up for you guys. We just punched through 15s on 42 15s on IBIT, but let's see if we can get 40s here on NVDL. We don't want to get out too early, but that's a 10 cents right there. We like that 10 cent. Another volatility spike. We'll take that all day, every single day. I don't want to take it out too early, just in case you do get that aggressive pullback, like kind of like what we're seeing right now. And then I have to get out break even because I don't want to turn a winning trade into a losing one. So a little bit stronger of a momentum push where we can head into maybe 43s, and then that'll be around a 2-to-1 for us, and then we can look to take some off. We're printing 35s, and you can see on the odd ask we have the 40s being printed, but we need an additional strong flush that is going to increases and then potentially head there. There we go, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm talking about.
Good job, Joey.
A nice little pop there. We didn't get 42s, but we caught 40s, so that's not too bad whatsoever. We'll continuously hold on to this position. How much did I take off? Only 20. Well, I shouldn't say only, but it was 25%. So a good chunk of it. We'll take another 25% off and then leave the other half remaining, just in case we do get somewhat of a pullback to VWAP. 40 15s we tapped into. We're going to wait for 18s and post up on IBIT. And so let me put that order out so that I don't have to pull the trigger too quick. I'd rather just have that order resting, even though I don't love placing those. Let's get this off of here. NVDL, a nice little uptick once again, and you can see on the tape that the ask is slowly lifting, and that's exactly what we want to see. 2 cent spread. Ooh.
Oh, baby.
Ooh. There we go. Of course, rejected the order, Sharif, baby.
Sorry. You want me to take over?
No, it's okay. I just don't want to have a hockey error, but nice little pop right there on NVDL. Let's see if we can break through. So we were talking about it. You've seen how we came back in off of this resistance zone. It was acting as support. We pull back a little bit, we accumulate, and then we just have the ability to push through that resistance, and that's exactly what we were looking for. How much am I sitting on here now? I don't want to hit that button. Okay, yeah, so I got half now. We're cool. We're cool like a cucumber, and that's exactly what we wanted. Make sure you don't double down on going inverse, your boy.
Double meat.
So is that... can I tell you something?
What?
I really like, the folks over at Chipotle, if you say you want more, they give you more and they don't charge you.
Yeah, bro, Adara's been talking about that forever. That's a Brian Nickel thing, man.
Yeah. You got to keep the customer happy, man.
Yo, anybody who gives extra protein
is
aces in my book.
Whoa.
Aces. All right, Adara, what's up?
But not just that, Joe. They famously, or the former CEO, Brian Nickel, famously told us if you want more protein, just give a little, weird little shoulder shrug. So shout out to Brian Nickel, and I love that I got the opportunity to say that. But I want to talk about NVIDIA, NVDA. On watch, they're reportedly planning to use 50% of their free cash flow for investor returns. They'll be shifting to returns once they've funded their investment commitments. So once they're done funding all those investments, which, as we know, Justice Wong mentioned, I think a week or so ago, they're trying to slow down on new investments. Once they funded their current commitments, they're going to be shifting towards these investor returns, using 50% of their cash flow to do so.
Thank you very much. I don't know how I feel about this NFE trade, Bovin. Bovin, I know you're in it. It's kind of consolidative here. The 1 shows higher lows. The 5 also, 5 second, also shows higher lows, but also lower highs. Here it comes, and it dips into 32. There seems to be a buyer at 32 for now. It can't clear 36. It had initial trouble with 37. Here comes into 32. I stop out at 31. We're in at 35. We're going to give the super tight stop. Doji candle preceding the current 5-minute candle. But there's that buyer again at 32. For now, though, it does not feel good trading, at the low end of the range and holding it. And the size is getting taken out here at 32. So let's watch. If it drops anymore, I'm just going to flatten out and take a 3-penny hit rather. Okay, back up to 34, but still not showing me its intentions to kind of move back up. You're not seeing the buyer step in aggressively here, and you're not seeing a positive trend here on any time frame, whichever one I'm looking, 5 second, 15, 1 minute, 2 minute, whatever. I don't like what I'm seeing right now, but it's not giving up the move. 140 high, What are you seeing on this, Bovin? It needs to break out 150. I completely agree. Well, I'd say it had to take out 140 first, Bovin, just so that we know we're overwhelming the sellers who were waiting at that 40 penny area, showing 35 again. Here it is, break even on this one, but nothing to write home about. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. A little too consolidative. There's a trader that says breakout or bailout, right? And this one does not seem like it's breaking out. So I should bail out. If you know, you know, right? So we're gonna pack the patience here. Let's see. I've moved up my stop. I gave it to initially prior the bar low at 12.55, the low of which was 128.5. So I'd given it to 128. And then I moved up my stop. There's 137. Okay. This is where we had trouble initially. This is where the sellers were stepping in quite aggressively at 3.7. Can't shake the sellers at 3.7. But at least we took out the seller at 3.6. No continuation though. Look at that. Nothing is getting taken off the size, off the ask there. Into 36 it goes. So it looks like it's still suffering from that same seller at around 37. So that's prior bar high ended up being 37. We have the same prior bar low and prior bar high for the current 5-minute candle. 137, 132, the same for the candle at 1 o'clock and the candle at 1:05. So, I mean, it could be a bull flag. I don't know. Right? Like, I could get stop hunted, right? It could breach my that prior bar low and then get stopped out and then mosey on back into the high. So who knows? CREG, Neil was nice enough to get me shorts for this one. This one's breaking down now, guys. It's lost 180. Let's see if this one loses 175. That's what I'm looking for there. Back now, boom, on NFE, into 40. Good. Pack the patience. Bovin, I hope you're holding, brother. Let's see if this one can moseys on up. Let's go ahead and see if we can take another print. So for me, 1R was 40, so we already got 1R. 2R is 46. Let's go ahead, set up a little bit more here at 2R. We're going to go into 45. Let's see what we can get on this one. 141 high a day, but no continuation. None. But the buyer at 32 was a staunchy little bugger. He's single-handedly the reason we didn't get stopped out. So we're going to continue to watch here. I want to mention Etsa as well, but for now, we're going to Adara.
Partnership announcement on watch here for our friends at NVDA. NVIDIA announcing that AT&T, or T, will be partnering with Cisco, CSCO, alongside NVIDIA, of course, to build an AI grid for information of things, so for IoT work. So again, AT&T, CSCO, NVIDIA, AI, information of things partnership here. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Joey, what are you looking at?
I'm just reading what TBK has to say.
Who?
TBK.
Okay.
I mean, there it is. We got out at the break even, but now it's starting to climb a little bit higher. No re-engagement there. So we'll look at it. I don't know if that's true. Like, we can figure that out real quick. And if you're lying to us, TBK, you're going to be in a whole world of trouble. So we'll pull that up. And I think you might have said that before. And I'm not seeing anything along those lines of saying Michael Saylor bought more Bitcoin. Because I've seen people say that last week.
Yes, he did. He bought 32,000 or some crap yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So TBK, I trust you. Now, 22,000
on my feed.
89 million for I don't know. I think it's up 89 million yesterday. Purchase of 22,000. Is that even possible? Anyways, aside from that, he bought more Bitcoin. I don't see anything. When did you say he bought it potentially, Sharif?
The infographic I saw on my Instagram yesterday said that he bought yesterday, but that could be wrong. Double check.
Yeah, no. $1.57 billion.
Yeah,
okay.
that makes sense.
So here it is. So at 9:41, Filing Strategy announced an update of its Bitcoin holding. The company reported acquiring 22,000 more Bitcoin for approximately 1.57 billion at an average purchase price of 70K. So is he moving this alone all the way up to 74 between March 9th and March 15th? So as of yesterday, or a couple days ago, whatever it may be, March 15th strategy holds 761,000 Bitcoin acquired for an aggregate purchase price of approximately 57 billion. All right, man, the bet goes on. If you want to talk about putting your eggs all in one basket, here it is. It's Saylor and Company going on an absolute run. 70,000. Hey, who are we to question what this guy's doing? Another purchase of some more Bitcoin that's substantial. If I could just get 10% of that, Saylor, that would be pretty cool, my friend. And I would much appreciate that. But aside from that, guys, NVDL, we're all out of that. Indecision print on IBIT. I really like this. I think at this point, we close hammer, we can break through this previous pivot of 42.17. All right, so that's my game plan. We're still holding on to about 15% of Bitcoin here.
All right, I have a lot that I want to say. I'll get to one thing at a time. NFE, come on, bro. We want 2R on this, you know what. We're waiting for 146. It keeps, 146 is the high of the day, but it didn't cross, showing 145 here. I mean, we're so close to the $0.50 NFE. I mean, come on now, let's go. I'm disappointed in myself, though. I'm super disappointed in myself because, number one, I got to get out of ETSA here, which didn't trigger my stop, but take a look at, what's it called? CREG. It is breaking down. Oh, we got shorts on this one, but I was so busy with NFE, I didn't get an opportunity to look over at CREG, and now it is bleeding its own blood. It's lost 80 pennies. It's lost 75. This looks fantastic here as a short. It's below VWAP. Now, there is one line in the sand that we need to concern ourselves with, and that's that $1.60 level. That's a pre-market high. I don't want to say the official high of the pre-market. It's where the closing prints rejected at on the 5-minute chart. This is the level I'm talking about right here, bottom of your screen. See that double top, one green, one red. 160 was the resistance level, drops into about $1, 104, then rockets back up to 260 where we get involved. But anyway, 160 could be a line in the sand here. Be on the lookout though. CREG does look like it's losing trend. It lost that, I want to say 85 penny buyer that it had that was holding this one up single-handedly, and now it's in the 60s, and it's about to breach 60 here. 59 just showed up. CREG is a short. It's on the way down quite aggressively. I screwed up. I should have definitely been involved in that. In any event, let's look at here NFE. What are we doing? We're showing 44s. We're still holding, looking for the move into 46, and then if we breach the $0.50, we're going to hold a piece for the dream. On NFE, but right now it's showing a staunchy little bugger selling at 44. There was seller at 45, obviously a seller at 46 because that is the high of the day. Let's move up the stop now to break even. So we're going to go ahead. We're moving it up right into 135, but I always have to give it a bit of room, of course, in case there's an area of illiquidity that necessitates me to cancel the old stop, which was at 129er. That is no longer the case. Bovin's at 140 held. Oh, Bovin's saying 140 held. Agree, Bovin. And that was the breakout level. So you want that, the testing of 140 again. I love the way you're thinking, Bovin. Look at that stair-step structure. So that, I'm pointing at the screen with my finger. Look at that 140 rejection, drops back down, holds 130, pops up into 46, drops down, retests 140. And here we go again, but we're getting that same annoying seller at 145 here that we can't shake, and there's a whole bunch of lottage showing up here on the ask, so be careful with that one. And there goes CREG all the way down. Joey,
what's up?
That's frustrating. Look at this move, bro.
CREG.
Look at that. Brett.
At the break of that neckline break there.
What's going on there, Randy?
Shorting that, John?
Yeah, man, I had shorts. Neil got me shorts on this one. It cost me 70 pennies.
Oh. You let that...
Randy said, it's too cold for shorts outside. I agree.
You let that 70 cents go to waste.
I know, right? Like an idiot.
What are you going to do about it?
In any event, that's okay. That's okay. And then I could have stopped out of this one, break even, ended up getting liquidity grabbed, and now it's heading back up. I'm talking about ETSA, of course. But we're going to keep an eye here on NFE. I think that 45 seller is running scared, even though, maybe I shouldn't say that, because there's more lottage this time around on the ask than there was when I viewed it previously. I think we had about 150. Now it's showing 243. But we know all that can get wiped out with one big buyer. And we've got higher lows. I think, you know, we're probably going to break through 145 here. We're going to pack the patience, see what we get. But great call out there by Adara on NFE as this one weasels into the $0.50. If it loses 40, Bovin, I think I'm not even going to give this break even. Or if it loses 40, I'm going to give it to 138. And then we'll give it down to 135. So that way, no part of the trade can actually be negative. If anything, it'll just be break even if I get 3 pennies of slippage between 8 and 3.5. Joey.
All right, man, good stuff. Going over some of the news articles here. See what we got going on.
Oh, crap. It's quarter after.
Man, it's quarter after.
Totally didn't even notice.
Time. It's all right. You're
totally didn't even notice. You want to start?
Yeah, we'll talk about the NVDA here quick because we're going to transition that into some of the articles that we got going on. NVDL, nice curl over, was providing the liquidity right there, and then we get a nice little bounce heading back toward into 50 on NVDL. And then IBIT, we're still posted up at 18s, and we're hovering. I think we can break. We just have to punch through that prior pivot level, some strong momentum, and there goes NVDA. So if we start to follow in Bitcoin, that's going to be prime time.
Yeah, yeah. Give me a sec. I thought you were.
Yeah,
no, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right.
We're just gonna put it on the side over here, Assassino. So if that's okay, just so that I can keep my eye here on NFE. We're gonna zoom out a little bit. All right, guys, let's talk. So there's 3 news stories today on NVIDIA. I'm sure there was a lot more, but the ones that I reviewed, I couldn't put it all in one. So let's talk a little bit about that $1 trillion in demand that our friend Jensen was talking about yesterday. He said there's combined demand for Blackwell and Vera Rubin systems, and he says the demand is going to reach $1 trillion by 2027. That's up from the prior guide that he had given us. He said about $500 billion. The company is expecting, as we know from their earnings report, 77% revenue growth, about $78 billion for the quarter in terms of that top line. Management emphasized that AI token generation is absolutely exploding, which is driving sustained need for compute capacity and, of course, faster inference. And that's what this GTC was about yesterday. It was about inference. You know, something we've been talking about for a long time. I'm not saying training is not important, but there are stages in this thing. Not just I have to watch here, Bovin, because I think it just breached 140. I have my stop at 138 here on NFE, so we're going to keep an eye out on that. NVIDIA does plan to launch the Vera Rubin chipset later this year, and it's, according to reports, going to deliver 10 times the performance per watt, a new metric now that's being used in AI data center world. Performance per watt versus the prior systems, which is, of course, addressing the energy constraints that we've been talking a lot about when it comes to AI data center buildouts. The company also tested Kyber architecture, teased, I should say, the Kyber architecture slated for 2027, which features 144 gigahertz CPU per rack. 144 GPUs per rack, for higher density and lower latency. NVIDIA also unveiled what we've been talking a lot about on this show. All right, I got stopped out of NFE, so now we can just focus on the news. They also unveiled Grok, which is the company that Chamath Palihapitiya was involved in, to basically get their foot into the ASICs game, application-specific integrated circuits. Some people call it custom silicon. Both are good. And they unveiled the Grok 3 LPU. That's part of the $20 billion acquisition that we reported to you guys on a few months ago. It's designed to complement GPUs with low latency processing. Some of the other names that are involved in this, Broadcom, Marvell, they're very much in the ASICs game. ASICs really good for inference. The LPX rack, which is what they're being called, is going to have 256 of these LPUs, and they can boost tokens per watt performance by up to 35 times. I'm no tech head, but that sounds good. Year-over-year increases. Joey, thoughts NVIDIA?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to lead to my question to you, Sharif. So essentially what Jensen was saying over yesterday's GTC is that the cloud is no longer about like file storage. It's about the generation of tokens. But my question to you, Sharif, is so obviously the more compute, the more tokens you can generate. But how come I don't know if this is a silly question. What about the compute power that is generating these tokens? Like, how come you cannot create these things from simple code? Do you understand my question?
Yeah,
like,
I'm not a technical guy.
Yeah,
brother.
no,
like, I'm
but
not
you
the
see
wrong
what
guy to ask about
you
this,
see what I'm getting at is so it's
I'm
like
just going to take their word for it, Joey. I mean, if they need more,
obviously, if they need more, right? Because like it's like, hey, when I used up all my Nano Banana, essentially I used up all my tokens.
Right.
Correct.
Yep.
Same with Brendo. He was using Grok. He used up all his tokens.
Yes, sir.
So how come these tokens can't be generated from code? That's what I don't quite.
I think tokens here is kind of like a currency.
Yeah.
So you're selling compute and you're commodifying it in tokens. So I'm just giving you any number.
Okay.
So if you want to run process A, process A is going to cost you 2 or 3 tokens in compute power.
Okay,
I think that's what that means.
It makes significantly more sense. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was getting at. Now Jensen's like, hey, I'm ready. We're looking to be horizontally integrated.
Tokens are energy, everybody's saying.
Yeah, so tokens are energy. Okay, so when you're using Grok, when you're using Nano Banana, you're using X amount of energy. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. But I mean, $1 trillion, that's the only number I really care about. That's why I'm going to remain a long-term investor in NVDA. It's going to become one of my largest positions, that's for sure. I think we're consolidating down here for a reason. And with the next couple of earnings report, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing climbs to new all-time highs.
Yeah, some people are like, don't ask Sharif about tech. Ask him about proper curl form. Come on, 1320. And then you got J Swan. Oops, different token. I wonder what he's talking about there. Toke. All right,
yeah, I get no compute. Yeah, I understand that, but it's like, okay, so what you're dividing all this token, I shouldn't say tokenization, but this compute power between specific applications.
All right, guys, Etsa's making a move here. I got stop hunted, full disclosure. There's the breach, and there it goes into 730. Etsa's going to make a move here. It could see 8 again, but just be on the lookout for, I want to say that's 7 1/3. That's where we popped into 1040, 1045. We couldn't shake the sellers there, of course, and then the squeeze got into 813. That's where we were involved, but there it goes, 728 or so. So keep your eye here on Etsa. Let's talk about NVIDIA's autonomous driving headline, because that's obviously a big one as well. They announced a new partnership. We're going to get to the Uber one on its own. For this one, we're just going to talk about the other non-Uber related partners. Hyundai, whatever it's called, Nissan, Isuzu, BYD, Geely, however it's said, for the Drive Hyperion AV platform. This platform enables level 4 autonomy, which allows, of course, vehicles to operate without human input in defined conditions. CEO Jensen Wang called this a chat GPT moment for self-driving. I think Elon was probably punching the air when he said that. In any event, key secondary growth pillar beyond AI chips. That's what analysts are looking for here in terms of this headline from NVIDIA. The Drive Hyperion integrates AI training, simulation, in-vehicle compute, positions NVIDIA as a full-stack AV operator, much like Tesla. NVIDIA does not manufacture the vehicles, though, but provides the core infrastructure, so you don't have to invest in that part of the business. Existing partners include, we've mentioned Uber, Lucid, Stellantis, Aurora, Nuro, and current vehicles, most of which are level 2, while level 4 robotaxis like Waymo and limited Tesla robotaxis that are on the road right now, they're limited to select markets. But as we'll see in the Uber story, this could change very quickly. Joey, AI autonomy from NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this segment slightly growing multiple earnings reports ago, but now it's really starting to catch some steam. And I think that Elon might have thought he had a clear path to maybe winning this autonomy race, considering his main competition is Waymo. So you have a player 1 and player 2, but now Jensen signing some big time deals. I think this can really, really tighten up this race. Obviously, we don't know of anything that they got going on right now, but as for the software update, it makes it a lot more simplistic. I will always remain, Tesla has the advantage just due to production capabilities, but then you have the largest company on the planet teaming up with some big vehicle makers here, manufacturers.
All right, let's go on to the last NVIDIA story, I promise. They unveiled their space AI computing platform. So NVIDIA announced a new space-based computing platform that's aimed at powering AI workloads directly in orbit. Where have we heard that before? Jensen introduced the Vera Rubin Space One module. It combines the IGX Thor and the Jetson Orion chip. The Jetson one is for robotics, and it's more mobile. It's optimized for size, which makes sense, of course, because weight, a pressing issue when you're trying to get payloads into space. It's optimized for size, weight, and power constraints. Initial partners are going to include Axiom Space, Star Cloud, and Planet Labs. I'm really surprised there's no SpaceX in there. So, The system is designed for space missions and satellite deployments. Space-based compute offers access to virtually unlimited solar power, and that's obviously a pressing issue now. As we know, a lot of these data centers get canceled because community pushback. They don't want their energy costs to go up, even though some of the hyperscalers have committed to paying for the energy themselves, so it wouldn't go up on residents. This is still being presented as an option. As I mentioned, rising electricity costs tied to AI infrastructure are pushing companies to explore alternatives. Competitors moving in. Google is also exploring orbital compute. We already know SpaceX/xAI now targeting large-scale deployments. We'll have to wait and see, much to the chagrin of Blue Origin, who was complaining to the FCC about that. We'll get to that at a different time. Some of the key hurdles, though, include cooling systems in space. I thought it was freaking cold there, man. I didn't get it. Apparently, heat dissipation is limited to radiation in space. Not something I knew. High costs and limited rocket launches as well are capacity constraint. But as we've seen with some of these space companies, their launch cadence has really picked up in 25 and slated to pick up even more in 26. So I think that, putting these into space is really not the barrier as much anymore as maybe some of the other constraints. Joey, what do you think about putting these data centers into space?
I mean, Elon's been talking about it before. He wants to do it. Why?
For a while.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah. I mean, a lot. Yeah, I thought it would be significantly cooler as well too, unlimited energy. But then obviously we had that issue between Amazon and Tesla was saying too much space debris. If you're launching multiple satellites and everything along those lines, just running around the orbit at crazy speeds, I think that's going to be the narrative. So imagine you have this massive data center in space and space debris. When you have this one-off event and just starts smoking and destroys everything.
And these things have limited lifespans. Yeah, because they are in low Earth orbit, so they're constantly being pulled by the Earth to come back, right? And so they have to, fire their jets to or their thrusters to maintain
a lot of energy.
But they have a life cycle, like these what are they called? What's Starlink? Starlink. These satellites, like I think they spend 5 or 7 years in space and then they crash down.
And let's make the point too: it's not overly easily accessible. Right, like think about the
for
risk.
Repairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well said.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's not like going to where you have that regular data center on the ground.
That's
you
not
also
even
have to risk individuals, highly trained individuals, which is going to cost you probably a pretty penny as well too, to keep going back and forth.
I don't think so. I think it's busted. They're probably not sending anybody up to do a spacewalk. That thing's coming back down.
It's busted.
I don't think that you send somebody up there.
How are you going to bring this thing down?
Oh, you can bring it down. It falls in the Pacific or whatever.
Okay. Then now you got to go fish it out of.
No, it's done.
Oh, it's done. That's it. So all that money is just gone.
But that's what these low Earth orbit satellites are. Like that's what I was saying. SpaceX, they're done. They're done.
That's why Amazon has to throw X amount up in there, and Tesla. Exactly.
Well, there you go. And Office Depot, Starlink goes down regularly. Some people rely on it for the nets in California and Nevada. I personally can't speak to that. My only experience for Starlink was on a flight back when I went to Aruba a few months ago, and it was fantastic. I've never come across internet on an airplane like this. It was like no latency.
Rivian says he has Starlink and never goes down.
Yeah, Rivian millionaire. I think he said that before, actually. Let's talk a little bit here about Amazon expanding the ultra-fast delivery to drive convenience edge. Amazon launched 1 hour and 3 hour delivery services across parts of the U.S. They're now reaching about 2,000 cities for the 3 hour delivery, and they specified here hundreds of cities for the 1 hour delivery. About 90,000, give or take, items are going to be eligible for the reduced delivery times, like groceries, meds, household goods. You're going to pay about $10 US for that 1 hour delivery, and you have to be an Amazon Prime subscriber. For 3 hours, you're going to pay about $5. It's going to be a lot higher if you're not an Amazon subscriber or a Prime subscriber. The move, of course, builds on Amazon's long-term push from 2-day shipping, now to 1 day, now same day. Now we're talking about ultra-fast, and the new storefront features will allow users to actually filter for items that are eligible to be delivered using this ultra-fast process. And if you thought 1 hour was good, you need to look higher, because Amazon is continuing to test its even faster options of 30-minute delivery called Amazon Now. That's only available in select markets. Rivals like Walmart are trying to match speed, claiming 3 hour delivery coverage for about 95% of U.S. households. Quick commerce players like Instacart, DoorDash, Uber Eats, they're also expanding their rapid delivery offerings to make sure they're keeping up with the standard. Joey, do you think that we see more of this? And if you do you think drones play a part?
Because what's the most advanced city in China called again?
Shenzhen?
Yeah. Like they're already drone delivery already in full
Straight
effect.
to jail.
And I think you have to take into consideration that it's very difficult to get from one end of the city, especially during rush hour in Toronto, from one end to the other, right? So what is the quickest way to transport these things? You're gonna have to get the drone delivery. We talk about, hey, is there a race to the bottom in delivery fees and everything along those lines? I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but who can deliver the fastest now?
Well said.
Right? So I don't know. I just don't think, like, I've never been to New York or anything along those lines, but I know Chicago traffic can be pretty bad. And traffic in the city to get from a major center. I think there's a big Amazon right at Martin Grove and Belfield in Etobicoke, Amazon. Sure. That's not as bad, but you still have to access the Gardner and Lakeshore to get that delivery that quick. I don't know how realistic it is. There has to be some form of leeway, right?
Makes sense.
Like an hour on the dot. What happens if it's not there on an hour dot? From the time I hit place order to the time it's at my front door, you need
probably
an hour.
Some sort of refund, maybe. I don't know.
Right, but then how much is that going to cost them? Because it's not possible. It's not possible, right?
I'm assuming, I haven't looked into their logistics, they might have smaller hubs where they can hold these fast-moving items.
Yeah, they would have to do that, but like where, okay, so you'd have to have significantly more hubs, so more brick and mortar, so what is that going to cost you at the end of the day to run this operation? Like, what are you going to do, just like place them all over the city? That's the only way where you can have that quick access.
Like you know, I've always been saying this about Walmart. Walmart's got the infrastructure already there, the stores. Yeah. Right? So they can operate off that.
You can put it in the warehouse. I don't know if they can ever team. I highly doubt that they would team up with Walmart.
No.
Where's the
that
closest
logistically possible?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, there's not that many Walmarts in the city. The closest one to me is at Dufferin Mall, and that's a wretched of a drive. And I live if there is no traffic. It still takes.
There's none in the middle of the city. I gotta go all the way to Kiel, or I gotta go all the way to I think Midland. So it's either east or west for me.
Exactly.
D Economics says insurance will love drones, but he's like, you'll never see drones. Brother, it's already happening in China. This is not an if, it's already happening there. It goes into like what's it called? It's kind of like a drop-off area. And each, the drop-off area is full of lockers, and you unlock the locker with your NFC on the phone, and the drone comes from the top of these lockers, drops it in, it then scans the barcode on the box. It's for food mostly, and then it puts it directly into your locker, and then you just unlock the locker with your phone. Let's talk about Google. Actually, this is not that important. Let's talk about Tesla. Here, this is not that big of a deal either. This is just about a $56 billion Department of Interior backing deals for battery production. Not a big one either. Let's get to oil, though. So this is getting worse and worse here. USO up another 2/3 of a percent. Sorry, 2 2/3% up to 118.01. We know that the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. The Strait of Hormuz accounts for about 31% of the global seaborne crude, 20% of the global crude supply flows through this route. You've seen Saudi Arabia trying to, divert some of that through the east to west pipeline. Can't fit as much, obviously, on that pipeline. So we're going to continue to look like to have more disruptions, despite the fact that President Trump is working on a coalition to escort oil tankers. But the details of the plan remain unclear. He was very, very open in his dissatisfaction with NATO and how they're not participating there to help, secure the strait and allow vessels to go. Naval escorts could expose, of course, U.S. and any other ships that are patrolling it to direct attacks. Alternatives like insurance guarantees or coordinated protection have not fully materialized. Another issue with oil another day, Joey.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it is. I mean, we've seen the fluctuation within the oil prices. We've seen the increase in volatility. We've seen the headline sensitivity with oil. The thing is, though, it's starting to cool off, right? One day extremely hot, the next day it's not, and then eventually we'll just get back to our ways. It's probably going to take significantly longer than what we're anticipating in order for the USO and oil prices to come a little bit lower. I told you guys that I was at the pump over the weekend, $2.08 a liter, right? $2.08 a liter for 93. I think it's going to take a while before we kind of find that median within gas prices.
All right, SWMR is halted up again. Okay, this is the IPO. It's up 480%. Halt price, $29.09. Halt time, 1:33.34. The majority of the halts have been 10 minutes, but there were, I think, 1 or 2 that were 5. In any event, if it's going to be 5, the earliest will be open is 138.34. If it's going to be 10, it's going to be 143.34. So get ready. Tap showing 29.50. 29.50 still puts us below the high of the day. High of the day is that candle that we got into at 12:05 on the 5-minute chart. 29.79 HOD on SWMR, halted right now at 29.09. Fantastic look there for everybody involved in that. Thank you very much. Health Hutchinson, I think. Can't really see the full name. $5 super chat. Reads as follows. I live in Texas, and we have drones to deliver stuff already. A drone opens up, and a rope drops my food on the back porch. Walmart here does it. I did actually see those. Thank you very much for that. I know they're in limited areas, but it's good to see. The example I was talking about, Health Hutchinson, was a little different. It's a locker-based system, and it's really in urban areas because, like everybody that they live in the city, they're off on lunch, they want to order their food. It comes vis-a-vis drone, I should say. I'm sure you guys can YouTube videos of this, of course, available online. 2 New York cents in California. Gas prices are an average of $5.80 in LA County. Even more expensive if you live in the more expensive areas like Santa Monica. Is it Santa Monica in LA County? But yeah, I get your point there. Of course, Santa Monica is beautiful. Crouching Tiger. Sharif, look at NVIDIA. I know you only look at small caps, but all right, let's have a look at NVIDIA.
Yeah, it's breaking out.
Is it?
Yeah.
Probably Jensen or something happened there at GT. Well, GTC's not on yet, is it? Let's find out. Yeah, it's about to go break even. 183.25 is yesterday's closing print. So we're about to go break even right now on NVDA. There could be resistance here. There certainly was in the morning when we lost it. Like we got up to 185.50 at about 9:30. That's the implied balance high. We dropped pretty aggressively. And then look at all these topping tail candles here trying to breach through that closing print. That closing print is 183.50. We rejected VWAP at around 12:15, but that was another attempt to go green. Let's see if this one does it, man. Clearly a buyer here at 182 or thereabouts. Very few in the way of closing prints below 182, so we know buyers were stepping in there. Do you have any look that you want to mention on NVIDIA?
No, it broke out. We took that trade. We never re-engaged, but it's really starting to go now. So there's multiple opportunities to get involved in it, and now you can see the volume on the lower time frames really start to uptick. And at this pace, the Nasdaq and the SPY are probably going to follow.
Oh, I got to interrupt.
Yep.
There goes SWMR. That's a new high at day, 32.45. That's halt level. That's limit up. 32.45 is limit up here, guys. Watch out. What a monster this is. 550%. Need a few more seconds like this. And sorry, by the way, to the person who was super chatting. False halt. Heath Hutchins. I called him Health. I do apologize. 32.45 Assassino. We were going to halt up. Now we're going to halt down at 28.49. The bamboozlement is in full effect. We were 550%. Now we're down to 470. So a lot of volatility. I hope nobody got caught in that because that is brutal. Adara.
Let's talk about the airlines. I know we're going to talk about these in a segment, but I want to mention this because this actually just came out here. Give me a moment.
Bro, I'm so mad. Look at, it's an unbroken short. Oh, what a disaster I am. Anyway, let's talk about U.S.-China summit. Possible delays here. President Trump wants to delay the meeting between him and President Xi by about a month. He said he requested a delay of the planned meeting between President Xi Jinping by a month or so due to the ongoing Iran conflict. Article reads, the summit was initially expected to be at the end of March, but the administration is prioritizing war management and domestic pressure. Trump emphasized the delay is logistical, not strategic. We're going to pause for a second. Going back to Adara.
Yeah, President Trump is actually talking right now as well at this Friends of Ireland event. He's saying, quote, the war is proceeding strongly. I also wanted to mention before UAL, so I'll get into that now. We know DAL and AAL also, as we have a lot of industry conferences, they're having comments here on guidance. We're going to talk about that in a minute, I think, in the news segment. But UAL just coming out here, CEO of the company saying their carrier has cut roughly 1 point of capacity for May to June. They're actually evaluating further reductions as fuel prices rise. So some capacity cuts here for UAL. Also seeing a headline here while I have you guys on ON, not too much of a move here, but reportedly, according to WWD, ON or ON is looking to resell used sneakers through a circularity business. If I get more details, I'll let you know.
Thank you very much for that. Let's continue on with this U.S.-China story. The delay, of course, comes as tensions increase, driven by both geopolitical conflict and the renewed trade investigation into China. We know that after the Supreme Court struck down the IEEPA tariffs, President Trump and his team have been coming at it from a different way. And part of those ones are these trade investigations under Section 300 or something like that. Not entirely important for this article. Anyway, the administration recently launched probes into alleged unfair trade practices, of course, adding friction to an already tense situation with China. President Trump has urged China, a major buyer, of course, of Iranian oil, to help ease the disruption in the Strait of Hormuz. Officials have downplayed direct linkage between the delay of the meeting and Iran, but the conflict is clearly shaping policy timelines and engagement, according to the article. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent suggested any delay is logistical and not tied to policy demands on China. They want to make that point. Thoughts here, Joey?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about IBIT here momentarily as it broke through that pivot level that we were talking about not too long ago. We'll take a little bit more off there. I think it's smart for Donald to hold off on this meeting, obviously, considering on the summit, just considering what he's got going on in the Middle East. You want to tackle one thing at a time, and you don't want too many things on the plate. I mean, if you want to switch up the headlines, by all means, head over to China, and that'll probably be enough to take a little attention off of what we got going on here from a geopolitical standpoint.
Good point. All right, Adara, what's your take on the U.S.-China tie-up?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, listening to Trump right now, so if we get anything more here on China, of course, I'll let you know. But it's interesting. We were waiting so long for this meeting, and I think this, like, China, U.S./Xi, Trump tension and development has been a thing for now, like, a year and a half, and all of a sudden, now Iran takes precedence. And this is a pretty interesting decision, I think. And, you know, we say 5 to 6 weeks they'll reschedule. I wonder how that's actually going to happen, because we know President Trump has said that the conflict's going to end, but now today he said, like, it's continuing strongly. So I think unless we, like, get a clear, decisive end to that conflict soon, and then President Trump has time to, you know, recover, get ready, take time, I don't think we're going to necessarily get this meeting in the 5 to 6 weeks that we think we might, like, unless the coordination is really tight. So I don't know. I think, the prioritization here is really fascinating for me, and a distinct change in pace from what we were seeing even, like, you know, a couple months ago, and certainly very early in Trump's second term. And I wonder now as well if this changes at all the strategy from China. Like, I think that there's a lack of immediacy here from the U.S. I think in a way, you know, maybe it shows we're not as concerned about China right now. There aren't any or as many tensions. That, I think, is a good thing. But I think that the area, again, where you do have some issues here, or where I would be a little bit concerned, is the fact that at this point they're kind of, I don't know, they're not prioritizing that relationship as much as maybe they should.
Oh boy, this one's gonna haunt me. Joey, remember that CREG one we were talking about?
Yeah, like 30
It's halted down.
30 seconds ago, yeah.
It's halted down. Damn. And this thing was up like 30% or 40%. It's down now, 26.33%. What a move here, guys, on CREG. CREG is bleeding its own blood. It's halted down at 91 pennies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so CREG, a hell of a short down.
What time did it break that support level? What was the price of it at that support level break?
180, I want to say 185. That was real level.
So 50% down from there.
From there, Joe, yeah, 50% on the dot. Good call. Yeah, that's not good. Let's talk about Alibaba, keeping the conversation onto China. Alibaba introduced Wukong, which is an enterprise AI agent platform designed to manage multiple automated workflows in one interface. The tool is going to enable tasks like document editing, approvals, meeting transcription, even research, kind of moving beyond the chatbot response. And that's what we're seeing here from AI companies, really a shift from these LLMs, which kind of give you information, into agents, which do work on your behalf. And then we talked about the order condescendi for AI, and we're going to move from the agent into the multi-agent mode. That's coming next. Currently, it's by invitation only, so you can't get it right now, and it's at enterprise, so I don't think it's made for regular users. the shift from passive chatbots, that's what I was talking about here, to proactive AI agents. That's kind of where the industry is going. These systems require, though, deep integration with enterprise data, which has the concerns here of security analysts, because it does raise privacy and security concerns. Remember ClaudeBot or OpenClaw or whatever they're calling it now, and you have to give it access to all your accounts and stuff like that, and then it was susceptible to prompt injection. So there has been, some security issues with these multi-agents or these agentic AIs. Wukong, though, is going to integrate with Alibaba's existing platforms like DingTalk, which has about 20 million users, and it's expand to some American platforms like Slack, Teams, and then, of course, the Chinese platform WeChat, but showing good broad-based inclusion there. Plans are going to, they do plan, I should say, to include it into Taobao and Alipay. That's their e-commerce and their fintech payment system. So it looks like they're going to put it in everything here, Joe. So, Alibaba just catching up to what all the other American companies are already doing.
Yeah, rightfully so. And they're looking to get involved with Microsoft Teams as well, WeChat, and another service called Slack, which we're obviously not too familiar. We don't have WeChat here. That's a China thing, but an all-in-one platform. We're going to head over to Adara, but first things first is that how efficient are these things, and do you think I don't know, I've never used any of these pieces of technology, but can they be, the objective is to be more efficient, but can they kind of eliminate some error? Like what if it accepts a meeting that you don't want it to?
Hallucinations.
Exactly,
yes.
Hallucinations.
100%.
So there still has to be some human interaction within some of these platforms.
Yes, I think they have improved with hallucinations just based on, some of the summaries we see. There's not as many mistakes as there were prior.
Yeah.
But hallucination is a bit of a problem. Adair.
Let's keep an eye here on oil. We have more commentary from President Trump on Iran, saying that their time in Iran here, the U.S.'s time in Iran, will be, quote, a couple weeks, not much longer, and saying they're way ahead of schedule. He also said that this conflict in Iran will be, and I'm using his words here, a short-term excursion. Furthermore, he said that it will take Iran about 10 years to repair their damage, so saying that it's going to be unlikely for them to be able to quickly rebuild the nuclear capacity, because we know that was the big concern here with regards to the U.S. even in getting involved here in the first place. So again, more comments here on the length of the Iran conflict. Keep an eye on USO as Trump continues to make comments during this Friends of Ireland luncheon.
NFE's heading back up. CREG, CREG's open and continuing to bleed its own blood. 71.53 low. We were involved in this at $2 2/3. It's lost the dollar. It's lost everything. It's now down 40% on the day. CREG is the one I'm talking about, but NFE also making a move. Let's talk about Nebius, down 11 1/3 after they announced a $3 3/4 billion convertible senior note split across 2031 and 2033 maturities. It's going to include a $2 billion 2031 note and a $1.75 billion 2033 note, with an option to upsize by about $300 million combined. The stock fell 6%. It's down 11 1/3 right now, as I mentioned, reflecting the dilution concerns and typical convert pressure after a sharp run. It was up 15% the prior session, so maybe some profit taking. We'll see. The proceeds, though, of the raise are going to fund aggressive expansion of AI cloud infrastructure as well as data centers. We saw NVIDIA with the tie-up with them. Capital earmarked for GPU purchases, of course, as well as the full stack AI cloud development. They look like they're quite ambitious with their goals there. Focus is on building long-term capacity rather than short-term profitability. Meta is also partnered with them. They committed about $27 billion to Nebius over 5 years. Agreements also include $12 billion of dedicated capacity to Meta, and that positions Nebius as a key infrastructure partner rather than, a speculative build-out story. NVIDIA's ecosystem as well are going to be involved in this. So the infrastructure that Nebius is building out here is going to include the Vera Rubin platform, tying Nebius directly into that full hardware AI stack. The first large-scale deployments are expected to begin in early 27, which makes sense because that's when we've heard the majority of these big players get their hands on Vera Rubin. Joey, Nebius down 11 1/3.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising. Obviously, the offering isn't good, but these guys are striking some big-time deals left, right, and center. They're building in Norway as well. They're a part of the EU build-out, signing deals with CrowdStrike as well too, to get cybersecurity into these data centers. I think think it's really important, regardless of this offering. And I don't know, considering they now have a lot of obligation here, Sharif, I don't know if this name is going to fall into the world of what happened with Oracle, considering all of their obligations.
Right.
But I like the deals that they're signing with. They got Microsoft. Who was it that they did something, a big-time deal, $2 billion investment from NVDA. OpenAI they're involved with as well, too. So they're really expanding their customer base. Now CrowdStrike as well. So these guys can really be off to the races. It's just the funding rounds that really cause these names a little bit of issue to have to meet those obligations.
You got to raise money, right? You can't all be through equity and dilution, right? So, all right, JKL, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Curious if we see some diverging. What does that mean? Diverging as we head towards the end of the day with FOMC tomorrow. Do you want to cover that? I don't understand.
Yeah, sure. Curious if we see some as we head in.
Deleveraging. Sorry, I couldn't read that.
Yeah, there we go. We both got that one wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag, to be honest with you. You'll see an increase. We got options expiration this week as well, too. As for the deleveraging, who knows? You always have those speculative individuals that think during the meeting is that, hey, you're going to have that volatility step in, and they're going to step right in with it. So increase in volatility, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case, but you'll see a cooling off of volume out of the gate into that FOMC meeting.
All right, let's talk a little Delta Airlines. Thank you for the super chat. Delta Airlines raises Q1 outlook on strong demand, so they expect Q1 revenue growth, in the high single digits, now tracking to about $15 to $15.3 billion. That does exceed the prior guidance of 5 to 7% growth, which would have been around $14 2/3 billion. So a nice move up there. The strength is driven, according to the company, by accelerated demand trends across both consumer and corporate travel segments. Domestic and international travel demand is showing what the company is saying is broad-based resilience, not just a seasonal bounce, according to them. Corporate travel continues to recover, which is supporting the higher yield ticket pricing. It had been kind of falling off a little bit since the end of COVID. The airline is benefiting also from that premium heavy offerings, which makes up 90% of its revenue mix. That can't be accurate. What? There must be something to that. I'll have to look more into it. Anyway, despite the rising jet fuel costs, which could be a damper on margins, they still expect EPS to come in about $6.50 to $7.50 on a full year basis. Per share, of course, on a full year basis. Management emphasized capacity flexibility as a lever to protect their margins in a volatile cost environment, and premium pricing is helping to kind of offset the input cost inflation. Clearly here, of course, jet fuel, and like how they're doing relative to their peers. So CEO Ed Bastian highlighted that Delta is, according to him, better insulated from the macro headwinds due to its premium-focused model. I've always understood Delta to be the most premium of the American carriers. I could be wrong, but that was my understanding. And to me, it rings true because they're the ones that are focusing the most on, building that business class, first class. We heard about them wanting to take out 50% of the fuselage specifically for premium. What's up?
Coinbase is flying. Thanks for that call out there. Gorev, really good look. A low of 204. Now look at that really start to pick up, volume increasing as well. We'll look to see if there's anything along those lines. But finish on Delta. We'll talk about that. I just want to point out that Coinbase is moving, and we took some more off on IBIT.
SWMR.
IBIT there, Assassino. Bang, 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 bang.
Good job, Joey. SWMR is breaking out into basically all-time highs because it is an IPO today. 34.42, get it, Case. What's your take on Delta?
Yeah, you're talking about how they're looking to increase the business class segment and just make the majority of the planes this. Now, my question is that it shows that there's a lot of demand, but do you really, really want to surpass this? We know the higher end consumer can hold on a little bit longer, but what is that going to do for the back half? Like you see people taking less flights. You're going to see an increase in the economy prices as well, too, because there's going to be less seating, right? So what I'm thinking is it could be a double-edged sword in the fact that yeah, you're going to have these business class seats, but then you're also going to be eliminating a lot of the average flight. Right?
Yeah, I think I'll be honest with you, I think they're okay with that because you charge so much more for the business class, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you think about it, like, again, what if you have that kind of that cyclical effect? Is like you're eliminating a lot of your customer base. Your TAM isn't the same.
I don't think you're wrong.
They don't really care, I guess.
I don't think they care.
Because it's like, hey, the rich people are going to fly, and if you're too poor to afford the business class, then
I hate to put it like that, bro.
But that's how it has to be.
They don't give a, you know what about you, right?
They don't give a bleep.
All right, Adara, give us your take on Delta.
Let's just say President Trump finished his comments here at that event where he was, as we know, discussing the Friends of Ireland luncheon. So those comments are now done. He's not speaking anymore today. I think maybe after the bell he is, but as far as I'm seeing on his calendar, not during the day. Let's talk here about DAL, because it's actually not the only airline company that did have some kind of guidance notice. So DAL basically maintaining for the most part their guidance. They did mention that demand. AAL actually increasing his guidance. And then UAL saying that identical to Delta, they also are expecting a $400 million hit. And they also had to shrink capacity a little bit here going forward to May and June. They will continue to kind of decrease capacity as needed going forward. But here's my thing. I'm kind of two minds with these airlines doing this now. So part of it is like, I think it makes sense, let consumers know, hey, this is how we're doing. We're actually doing better than we thought we might be. I think it's a good thing to allow the shareholders to know too, so they don't get like a whole scare during the earnings report. But then the other part of this is now I think with these earnings reports, have you maybe kind of like front run some of this excitement? Is a lot of this priced in? You know what I mean? I think that's a real concern. And I do understand, of course, especially with all these industrial conferences this week, as I've said a couple times now, it's a good time to do it. I think it makes sense that this is an announcement you'd want to make, but I do wonder if it's going to kind of maybe offset any kind of reactions we could get to this same information when it does come out at earnings, a couple weeks or months down the line.
Fair enough. Let's talk about Uber expanding the robotaxi push with an NVIDIA partnership. I promised you we'd get to this one. And we have Uber is up 6% today. So good look. They announced a partnership, yes, with, you guessed it, NVIDIA to deploy robotaxis using their autonomous driving stack. Initial launches planned for LA and San Fran in 27. Then they're going to expand, according to the company, to 28 cities globally by 2028. Vehicles are going to run on NVIDIA's Drive Hyperion platform combined with the Alpameo, an AI model designed for complex driving scenarios. I'm guessing it's for the outlying situations. The rollout is going to follow a phased approach. Initially, they're going to look for data collection, then supervised operations, and then full level 4 autonomy, a process we've seen Tesla do, Waymo do, so nothing new in that regard. They're also pushing this multiplayer ecosystem, which allows multiple AV, autonomous vehicle, developers and automakers on its platform. So it's kind of positioning itself strategically as a marketplace for these autonomous mobility apps or software or stacks, rather than being a single operator or going at it alone. Do you like that approach from Uber?
I do. I think it's smart because we know that there's a lot of disruptive services coming out right now. The Waymos, the Zooks, obviously with Elon coming out with the full production in robotaxi. So you want to position yourself because all these companies are going to do, if they're not using your app, is grab up your market share. Right? So I think it's really important. You got to strategically place yourself and make sure you get involved with them. Uber, I remember I was listening to the All In podcast, the CEO there talking about Elon Musk having fleets with Uber purchasing large amounts of fleets so that they can get involved. And we know, we were talking about this from an insurance standpoint, but if you're going full autonomy, you're eliminating essentially your largest expense, and that's going to be the driver.
Yeah. That I think is the most important point.
Right.
Obviously it's a high fixed cost for them. I'm talking about drivers for Uber. But what I really like about this, Joey, is they're like, look, we obviously have the network of customers who want ride hailing. We're not going to invest a dime into our own AV platform. You schmucks go and do that. And when it's good and ready to go, come to us and we'll put you in contact or in touch with or connect you to the actual demand. I think that's brilliant. Obviously, it saves a whole bunch of CapEx from them. At the same time, though, do they profit off it as much? Does their business model change? I would answer that and say yes. their business model does change because they have that upside, as you so astutely pointed out, which was the driver gets removed.
Yeah.
Sadly, people are going to lose their jobs.
Absolutely.
There's going to be less side gigs.
I mean, you're gonna have mechanics too. You'll have job loss, but then you'll have job creation as well too. But the thing is, though, my issue with Uber purchasing these vehicles, that's a very large expense, depreciating expense, and a large liability as well too. I think what's really good for Uber is that they don't own any of their vehicles.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
They don't own any vehicles,
great point.
right?
Yep.
So they don't have that depreciating expense of the actual vehicle itself.
Well said, Joey.
With the maintenance involved as well, wear and
All
tear.
right, something's going on with SoFi. Everybody's yelling about SoFi. We're going to have a look here quickly to see what's going on. Allow me a minute. I got to pull up my chart. Here we go, SOFI. What do we got? We're dropping bigly here on SoFi. I don't have any news. I just see the thing that says price spike down. So we'll steer clear for that for a second. But I do see it, guys, on SoFi. Big move down. As soon as we have that, we will give that to you guys. But now, it is 1 minute overtime. So we're going to send you over to the big boys. And as soon as we have something on SoFi, we'll make sure to point it out.